welcome to Slayerfest 98. I'm Ian Carlos Crawford.
And I'm Organa. Joining us today is the actor who played JJ in Heated Rivalry.
Hello, my name is Benjamin. Glad to be here.
Hi, thank you for doing this. Thank you for
Thank
taking
you.
time out and thank you for doing this like DMs. I know it's like a little chaotic that way, but I appreciate it.
That's okay. There's always great opportunities via the social medias now. So
I do try to always check my requests because you never know what's in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You clearly know the show is a big hit. I'm curious. Tell me about your audition process and getting the job. It sounds like a lot of people, it was like the timeline was very short in filming and knowing you got the part.
Yeah, it's usually very crunch time because by the time like sometimes the production team like clears everything and they get the go ahead to like start the casting process, sometimes you have a day, two, at best a week, and then the decision process they gotta like check with distributors, networks and stuff like that if the casting is approved, which can take a couple weeks. So I actually auditioned I think like three times. Like I had like a callback or two. And funny enough, I did not even audition for JJ. I auditioned for the role of Colton,
Oh, okay.
and actually blanking on the character's name. He plays with Scott on the New York team, and so basically. I guess they saw something. They saw JJ's nature from that audition, and then they asked me to do a slate, which silly me, I always forget sometimes as an actor to throw in a slate. And I did the French accent that everyone keeps talking about because I live in Quebec, so I hear it all the time. And yeah, it turns out they loved it. I show up on set. Jacob's like, "Yo, dude, you crushed it. Your accent's on point, and we love it. Do that." And I was like, "Okay, cool."
Nice. Was the accent natural? Like, is it just like it comes natural to you, or did you have to like practice a lot for it, or just kind of like, I've been hearing this my whole life, so whatever.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of that. I didn't want it to be like mockish. Like I didn't want to get into it received as like mockery
Yeah.
from like the Quebec community and stuff like that. So I made sure to watch a couple videos, hit up those uncles that still struggle with the English language and just try and talk to them in English. And they're like, "Why are you talking to me in English? On parle français, s'il te plaît." Little did they know I was like studying, and yeah, just wanted it to reflect purely the accent that is here, which I've been getting lovely comments. People from France, people from the United States are loving it. They find it cool and very charming of an accent. So it's fun to be able to represent that.
It really is. I mean, your first scene is you kind of like your character wording something a little like the phrasing is could be interpreted another way. And I thought it was a good job of like being funny about that, but not, like you said, not mocking it.
Mhm.
And I have relatives in my family that English isn't their first language. Sometimes there's like mix-ups like that. All of y'all
Right.
that like do accents, none of them sound cartoony. And I feel
No.
like a lot of American actors, when they do accents, usually can come off a little cartoony.
Well, I'm glad to hear. I think it was part of the energy of the show. We really wanted to give our best. Sometimes these projects they don't always. Let's just say the U.S. entertainment sphere is like much bigger than the Canadian one at times, or at least sometimes there's like more money, more networks, more people, more
Yeah.
volume. So when these bigger projects come around for the Canadian entertainment industry, we relish at the opportunity and we really want to give it our best and make sure that we can prove to the world that we're just as good. So it's quite awesome that we succeeded in that.
Yeah, it seems
All
like
good.
because Canada isn't producing as much media as the US, it really gives you guys the opportunity to make something really incredible, because we were talking earlier about the show, and not just the acting is incredible, but also the cinematography, also the
Hmm.
music, also the lighting, everything in the show seems so high quality. And we know that you guys did it on a truncated timeline and on a smaller budget, for such a big show. So do you
Yeah.
think that like plays a massive part in why we haven't been able to produce anything like this in America?
Mm. Yeah, that's a great point. I've been reading a lot on Twitter and threads and what everybody's been saying about it. And there's this one lady who kind of like nailed it. And she mentioned that today in the mainstream, we try to check off certain boxes, right? The right cast and the big shot director, big shot actors, and stuff like that. And it sometimes makes for very streamlined and, dare I say, sometimes like boring
Mm,
outcomes because everyone expects it and we all kind of know how it's going to play out. But when it's like a true artistic piece and, it's derived from an amazing series of books and it's taken on by a team that like has something to prove, I think that makes a huge difference. People then are able to really give it their best and create something very artistic
mhm,
rather than just shoot for numbers and streams and clicks and stuff like that. We kind of really stayed true and authentic to the art itself, the reason why we do this. And I think that's what people have been feeling. I personally really love the tone of the show. I think that it's very unique and hadn't been seen, like you mentioned, in a
mhm.
while. Something that just is so felt. Like Ian, I think you were saying too, like it's inexplicable. Sometimes it's just like, wow, people really, really connected to the characters, to the cinematography, to the mood of the show. And I think it's a reflection of what we peppered it with and what Jacob had in mind with it too. So that's cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioning the tone, it's also a really good balance of it takes itself seriously, but it allows itself to be funny at times. Like your
Yeah,
first scene with like the like wording, like that's like funny, but also like Shane is panicking because he's like, what?
he's like, does he know? Yeah.
Yeah, and like I do think that can be a really hard balance as well to like
Mhm.
have a
Yeah.
character be funny while we're taking it seriously and it not come off like jarring. But yeah,
Yeah.
this does a good job of that, I think, for tone.
Hmm. Yeah, well, in every great tragedy, there's a bit of comedy and vice versa, right? Like the infamous theater masks, like one's crying, one's laughing. So, or one's like angry, one's like happy. So, think that the two kind of live, or it's two sides of the same coin, right? So, if you're able to kind of like nail it like Jacob did, then in a very serious moment, you're gonna have like comedic relief, which is JJ's ass just showing up saying a bunch of nonsense, right? Which kind of like sets the viewer shoulders to like relax. It's like, oh, okay, cool. It's not that deep. It's not that serious, right?
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
was well done.
And I like the fact that the characters are allowed to be scared of coming out, but no one's really like, we don't have to like, no one's like using slurs. I mean, the one brother does, but like, no one's like
Yeah.
wildly homophobic. Like, in the locker room, everyone's just like chill and friendly and able to like be like fun and whatever. And that feels pretty
Mhm.
true to like that. I don't know. Like, I know so many straight guys who are just like whatever and don't
Yeah.
care about that. And I don't know, just are like
Yeah.
goofy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, oh, go ahead, Joe.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah. I mean, I think maybe if maybe they would be okay with being Shane being gay, but maybe they wouldn't be so okay with him and Ilya, because I think they all kind of hate that guy, especially JJ.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh man, I'm very excited to rip into him
Yeah.
at any occasion. But yeah, I think it's just because I'm lucky enough to have a cousin who's on his way to the NHL. He's playing for Anaheim club team right now, and growing up going to see his games, they create such a fraternal bond, these guys, and they laugh, they cry, they win, they lose together. So it does bring them together very closely. And so anyone who kind of threatens that, challenges that, is the enemy, so i.e. the other team, right? So I think that's where like the hatred for like any other opposing team comes from. But ultimately, we're so close that we end up accepting it. Like spoiler, but I think I haven't read that far ahead. But my character obviously has a harsh reaction at first, but then fully accepts Shane. So I think it goes to show that, like Joe, you're saying, it doesn't matter. Like, who cares? Like, we're all human. We all deserve love, and I don't think it should matter where you swing, because at the end of the day, it's all pleasure. It's all experience. So I think that was beautifully done. Maybe it's the fact that Canadians, we have a reputation of being softies and nice and stuff. So maybe that is also reflected, as well as maybe it was intentional a bit to kind of like showcase to the world that like liberation and acceptance is more important than like resistance and judgment and stuff like that. I think it's lovely that the two women, our teammates accepted, then like kind of like poorly react and wanted to stay in their lives and stuff. I think that it's important to spread that message out there. I think it's another reason why people really loved it, is because of that, the acceptance and just like the happy ending, for lack of a better word. You know what I mean? Like
No, yeah.
Shane's worst fear ended up being okay. His
Yeah.
parents accepted him, and he's on his way to building a new life and coming out. And that's inspiring. So that was cool.
I think you make a good point about like the happy ending, but I also think almost like it was a nice cap to the end of a year that maybe didn't have so many happy things, and we got this show that was like a lot of joy, and we were able to like still be nervous about the coming out, but it's not like anyone was worried, oh, they're gonna die or something like crazy bleak is gonna happen. It all felt like a pretty chill, I don't know, just like such a nice story with such a happy ending. I feel like that was really important, especially for it to be a queer story in 2025. It was a nice way
Yeah.
to like end the year.
Yeah, a lot of the time with like queer media, there's a lot bigger things to worry about than will he go to the cottage or not. So it was like, even though I feel like a lot of people were crying pretty much every episode, it wasn't. It was mostly out of joy. It was mostly out of like beauty. It was such a beautiful show and such a beautiful relationship that got to be shown on screen. It was nice to have that sort of like positive energy around a queer love story.
I love the point you made, because I think a lot of people might feel, and we're in the age of like also identifying, mental health issues, and seems like a lot of us are more on the spectrum than we thought, and so the fact that Shane is able to explore that and be accepted, be loved by Ilya, and mocked a bit for his quirkiness, but for them to be able to develop that, and for Ilya to like never have been able to express any kind of like homosexual behaviors in his country, around his people and stuff like that, I think it's expansive for him too. And again, back to the liberation point, I think that's awesome that people feel called to that, or people feel that's also helped them maybe face that in themselves. Because let's face it, not everyone's coming out is that smooth.
Right.
And it was cool, as you say, Ian, for it to be kind of of a happy ending. Because even in some of these modern shows, 'cause it's not like we've never seen gay relationships on screen and stuff like that, but the reflection of it is usually the reflection of sometimes how queer people might be treated in the world. And so the content reflects that. But this one kind of took it, Heated Rivalry took it in a different direction to try and be a little more hopeful. So that was well done, I thought.
Yeah, and I just think having hope right now is that's a nice thing.
Yeah. The world is on fire.
Yeah.
Sure is. Benjamin, when did you realize the show was like a hit? Like, what was your like first indicator? Like, oh crap, this is a big thing. Like, this is a big deal.
Probably when I opened my Instagram, one day, like I went to bed on like a Friday and then Saturday morning, I'm up like 10,000 followers. I have like 40, 50 DMs, people expressing their love for the show and saying how much they hate JJ and they can't wait to see me in season two. And I was just like, whoa. And then, going out to the store and I'm overhearing this group of girls talk about Heated Rivalry. I'm getting ads on my phone, Heated Rivalry watch parties. My friends from theater school are calling me during the holiday, FaceTiming, and suckering me into conversations with their auntie because they're in love with the show. And they're like, hey, I know the guy, he's my friend. And then I went to get a juice the other day at like the regular old juice bar that I go to, and the girl's like, "Hey, are you JJ in Heated Rivalry?" And I was like, "Snap! Okay, I guess this did really reach all these beautiful people, and it's still a little surreal. Like it still hasn't really sunk in." I was driving a couple of days ago with my fiance, and she turns to me and she sees I'm pensive and she's like, "What's up?" And I'm like, it's kind of crazy. I'm in the biggest show in the world right now. That's wild. And it's bold to say the biggest because there's so many other awesome
But not
shows.
incorrect.
It
Not incorrect.
absolutely is.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's close enough. And
Yeah.
and yeah, there was just such a wave of like gratitude and just kind of like awe of like, whoa, this show really touched so many hearts, and it's so fun to see Canadian art kind of like reach those heights and Canadian talent to be recognized more and more. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, going back to what you said, like, and I love my like trashy American entertainment too, but I do feel like there's something to be said for it being Canadian on a small budget, not
Absolutely.
having, like you said, a big cameos or like what you're expecting. It's not, a Marvel movie where it's like, yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna see all these actors we see all the time.
Hmm.
And I think it's a credit to every part involved in the series was working at 100, and I think that's a credit to y'all. Like
Hmm.
came together to do this thing that wasn't, produced by Disney or whatever, and like made
Thank
something
God.
truly fantastic.
Hmm. Because very rare is it that we have like, not so rare anymore, but let's say like 5 years ago, like Netflix productions in Canada would be few and far between,
Mhm.
right? You'd have what happened a lot was big American productions would come here and cast a lot of us in like secondary, third roles and stuff like that. And we would be lucky maybe if one of us kind of like breaks out from that. And so it's cool that Crave came around, started producing some originals and stuff and Canadian content. And the fact that we're capable of being bought by HBO and other international networks and stuff and distributors is actually really cool. I think it's a testament that showcases like what we can do. Quebec has a lovely movie and series industry. It's very French, right? But
Hmm.
it's very loved, and those guys are incredibly talented, whether in front or behind the cam. We have some of the best technical teams in the world, and we have some of the biggest directors also. Jean-Marc Vallée, Denis Villeneuve. He produced like so many American shows,
Mm.
and people wouldn't stop to think twice that he's like from Montreal, Quebec. So it's and Jacob Tierney, right? Like, and so many other, like there's too many to name, right? But it's very cool to be able to start getting more attention and start getting more credibility from the outside on Canadian production. So
Right, because like you could make a great thing that no one ever sees. Because that
Right.
I always say that just because someone doesn't make it big doesn't mean they're not fantastic, right? Because
Right.
exactly.
there's a lot of things that go into like becoming big, and
Hmm.
sometimes like not all of it is just talent. It's like luck or like who you know or stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Money.
So
A lot of it is
Money.
money. You know, that's one thing that Americans sometimes aren't shy about is to spend that money. You
yeah,
know, I had a small role in a Disney Plus movie called Clouds a couple years ago, and you know, they held up production for a whole day, got everyone in overtime. I think it cost them an extra like $1.2 million just because they weren't sure if they wanted smoke or no smoke when the main actors came out on stage, right? And it was a big thing between the executive producer and the director. And a lot of us are like, whoa, like 1.2 million or something like that, like hundreds of thousands, right? And flip side, like that we like sometimes we would dream of just that budget of one day's waste for
yeah.
our own like, big productions,
Yeah.
right? And so yeah, it's exciting to have like I think Netflix and Prime are building like studios in Toronto now, and I know Vancouver's also known to have like big productions out there, and so yeah, let's just hope that this is the continuation of the expansion of the Canadian industry.
Yeah, I that is true. Americans are not shy about that. I had a friend, my roommate, when I lived in New York, did lighting for TV sets, and they once were hired to do lighting for a certain musician, and they went overtime. Their contracts were up. That musician's manager came in and offered everyone $500 cash and a lot of weed to stay past their contract. And it was only like a
Wow.
few more hours, and they were all like, okay, sure,
Yeah,
because they
money
like
talk.
were, yeah, they were just like held up in the like the musician was held up in their trailer, and so everything got delayed, and it was just like, yeah, we'll offer you this cash, and all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, because sometimes there's such a dichotomy between like you know, celebrity stardom and stuff like that and like regular people, you
Yeah,
know? And I even hate saying it out loud, but we have created an industry where which mind you, I think is shifting, I think it's changing, but where like, you know, if like the rock star needs another five, then the whole team
right.
under them is like delayed, right?
Hmm.
And sometimes that can be considered like inconsideration from them. Sometimes they might actually need an extra five to get ready, and I think it's a testament to like these amazing teams that are ready to shuffle and work around that. But it does create sometimes issues and more money to be spent in areas, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're moving into a new era. So we'll see how that goes.
I like this. I'm going to hold on to this positivity of we're moving into a new era. Things are
Yeah.
getting better.
I think we need a new era.
Yeah,
But I also think it goes to show you that you don't need a massive budget if everyone on working on a project is incredibly talented and passionate and
yeah,
knows what they're doing. Like Jacob Tierney, all the actors and all the crew and the cinematography, everyone that worked on Heated Rivalry, because you guys had a
yeah,
smaller budget and it came out incredible. It was a piece of art.
yeah. About that, like I absolutely love the director Jordan Peele.
Mm,
And with I think his first movie Get Out, he had like I think like $4.2 million or something, 4.4, which is not a lot of money when you
Yeah.
think about it. And I think he like 10, 20 times that afterwards
yeah.
with like the box office, but goes to show you that when you truly believe in a project and you artistically create it based on like your vision for it, it's bound to like reach people and have a success. And I don't know if you guys saw Get Out, but
Yes.
that shit was like creepy and eerie and great and amazing nuggets of truths and a testament again to what smaller budgets can
Yeah.
create.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a huge cultural impact that movie had. Like people were
Yeah,
talking about that for the next 3 years.
like
And
yeah,
that's a lot. It's a lot more impactful to me than a lot of these big budget movies that are spending $500 million on this CGI like stuff that kind of no one remembers 6 months
yeah.
later. And Heated
That's
Rivalry is
it.
going to be remembered for years to come. Same thing with Get Out. All these smaller budget that
Hmm.
maybe doesn't have that like corporate parent looking down on it, making those decisions that cut out a lot of that creativity, a lot of that beauty, a lot of that art that the smaller budgets get away with.
Yeah, that's well said, because sometimes there's a saying that says too many cooks in the kitchen. We've all
Absolutely.
heard of projects that, the executive team wanted something, the writing team wanted another thing, the director wanted something else. Everybody's kind of fed up, and then the deadline happens anyways, so
Right.
they have to just kind of like make it work, and then the end product isn't what it should have been.
Right.
And unfortunately, my theater teacher would always used to say this. He's like, never take the audience for fools.
Right.
They are among some of the smartest people out there. You never know if a doctor, if an engineer is in the room and stuff like that. And so you always want to do your best, give your best, because they can read when it's phony. They can figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone is a great judge of character, a great judge of art. And so to assume that just throwing a bunch of, like you said, 500 million CGI budget, that people are just going to be, it's great, there's going to be explosions everywhere and stuff. But it's like, but if it's not cohesive and if it doesn't make sense, people are going to be like, why did you do that?
Yeah.
I remember the experience of going to a movie theater is like none other, but like especially during that thing we're not supposed to mention anymore. It seems like the halls were like so empty, and so these big movies, I'm looking to my right, to my left, and I'm seeing empty seats, and that was crazy too,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, it's important to I think stay close to the art and the intention that you want to put forward in your movie, and then you're bound to kind of have the results versus kind of like creating for data, right? For specs,
Yeah.
to try and get check off these boxes, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Even with, I'm always bring up Scream because it's my favorite horror series. There's like an oral history book that just came out that I just listened to on my drive to work, like in November.
Yeah.
And it is wild that New Line Cinema still was like badgering Wes Craven, even on the fourth movie. They like didn't trust him, and they would still do like cuts, and they would still want like this revision,
Wow.
this edit. And it's like on the fourth movie of a really successful franchise, they're still like not even giving it the credit
Yeah,
that it
fully
deserves.
trusting and believing. Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy. It's the difference between dare I say, suits and artists,
Yeah.
like they're
Yeah.
thinking of, and enough respect, like they're thinking of their bottom line, their numbers, their distribution, like they've seen what sells, what works versus what doesn't. So I understand the concern, but sometimes you have to trust the artist and their
Yeah.
vision,
No, I agree.
because that's what really moves people in the end.
Yeah. No, I agree. What has been one of your recent favorite movies or shows that you watched? Anything you watched that like caught your attention that you really loved?
I've been like quite occupied. I have a small child, so I haven't been watching it late at night. I'm so tired. I kind of just doze off and I fall asleep
Yeah.
trying to watch something. But what has been something recently that I really kind of like ate up? Wow, it's like I'm just trying to think. Like I haven't even watched any. I mean, Heated Rivalry. uh,
Listen, one of my friends that is a mother, her kids are, I think, like, want to say like 8 and 6, somewhere around there. She only started watching Heated Rivalry because I was posting about it so much, and she would wake up before the kids woke up for like daycare at like 4:30 in the morning so she could
oh
watch it
man,
for an
Yeah.
I
hour,
hear that.
and would
Yep.
send me texts at like 5:15 in the morning, like, well, I'm crying watching Heated Rivalry episode 5.
That's epic. That's
As most of my
awesome.
parent friends have the same issue you do, where it's like,
Yeah.
I don't really have time to watch anything.
It's wild. It's wild. And there's such a thing as like mama and papa brain. I mean, like I don't really even remember yesterday. Like it's crazy. I mean, if I wasn't on the spot and I had to like write it down for my life, like I could probably recall. But quite often I'll just try and catch a bit of YouTube. There's a few like YouTube channels that I follow. I'll try to like educate myself on like something new. I like to make a
Mm.
statement of like learning something new. So I'll check out how to build a bunker in your backyard, right? Or like how to like forage food and
Yeah.
how to like make water from like dirty water, you know?
There's like a
I think
theme there.
I
yeah,
think we have the same suggested promos on YouTube because I'm watching that stuff too.
yeah, I don't
I
know.
really
And
am.
I'm a big fan of comedy too. And I recently stumbled on this YouTube channel called Kill Tony.
Mm.
And it's really funny. I like the format, and so I'll catch a bit of that, a bit of stand-up comedy. What else? I like food, so I like watching like food channels and stuff like that. But if there's one series that I just started it, because it's also Canadian and it's from Toronto, it's called Office Movers.
Ooh.
And there was a few YouTubers that I follow that are in it. So I wanted to give it a shot. So far, it's really funny. But it's kind of like the very regional type of comedy. So like you kind of have to know it to
Mm.
Yeah.
like find it funny.
Canadian
Uh,
humor.
yeah, exactly. It is generalized in that sense where I think you can appreciate it coming from
Hmm.
elsewhere, but particularly find it funny because it is closer to home.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna be finishing that, and I'm also a sucker for like rewatches. Like I make
I
it a
am too.
habit every 2-3 years to rewatch like The Matrix. That's my favorite
Ooh,
trilogy of all time.
so good.
And I recently just re watched Memento, which
Ooh.
is like fascinating, right?
That movie was one of my favorites in high school. I took like a film elective and the teacher took us to see that at the end of the year as like a reward. And I remember just like thinking it was the coolest. Oh, this teacher's so cool. She took us to see this movie. And that was like a big part of my like teenage life. Seeing that movie became like my
Nice.
personality for a while.
Okay, yeah, I love how movies can do that, right? You
Hmm.
become akin with a character, and you're just like, I'm gonna be him, you know? Like when Ace Ventura came out, like it's like my head was always going like this, you know?
Yes. And our last question, what's something, I mean, you kind of mentioned this, something you like to get to do or wish you had done with your character on the show?
Mm. I thought, what role would I love to do next?
Or
I was
that.
very funny. The Joker,
Ooh.
Nice,
DC's
nice.
Joker. I would body that role. I kind of have like this crazy internal dialogue with me all the time, and I would love a shot
Huh.
to
All
like,
right.
yeah, uh,
Okay.
I
create
love
that
that.
character. But with JJ, I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm very excited for season two, for more screen time, new scenes. There's nothing really that I wish I had done differently, more so than being able to showcase him more. But so far, people have been saying that they did notice him a lot, even if like because I think I really embodied him his physicality pretty well, from what I gathered from the books and some of the fans and stuff. So I'd love to be able to just like bring him to life a little more. Love to see maybe an episode on his backstory, kind of thing. But yeah, it seems like he's a big goof, like a confident goof
Yeah.
bear,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and very funny, and like doesn't really second guess. He's not even shy about having an accent. So that's cool. It's me who sometimes internalizes things a little too much. Like it was cool to be more extroverted for this character.
Hmm.
Mm.
So that's something fun that I always enjoy playing.
Cool.
Yeah, and it
Uh,
gave us a really good sense of Shane's dynamic with the rest of his team. Like that scene was
mhm.
really important because it showed us like kind of their relationship, and that'll come into play more in season two because we know
Yeah,
that you guys have a kind of a big role in the story of their coming out. So it'll be really interesting seeing what you do next season.
yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I hope I don't piss off too many people.
Benjamin, thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to chat with us. Let everyone know where they can find you online.
My pleasure. It's been great. So on Instagram, simply Zen Ben. And I have my IMDb, and also with the success of the show, I realized that like my online presence is not the best curated, so I have to do some work there. Going to be looking into starting a channel. I don't even have a TikTok, so
Ooh.
stay tuned for that. Might use the same handle. I'm trying to get Zen Ben as the handle, and the guy who has it hasn't been active since 2014. So
Ah,
if you guys want to go report him so I can get his handle, that would be awesome. But no, beyond that, yeah, I got a movie that's in post production right now that we're looking to showcase in festivals. The name is still up in the air, so I
okay.
can't really mention that. But yeah, I play a very cool character, conflicted character. And so I'm excited to share more about that.
Cool.
And yeah,
Cool. Well, thank you so much, and have a good rest of your day.
thank you.
Thank you.
You
Bye.
guys too. It's been awesome.
And today we are here with a very special guest. He played Sasha on Heated Rivalry.
Hey everyone, it's Kaden here.
Kaden, your first scene on the show, I was like rewatching today and I was like, I don't know why I didn't put this first, but you have a very good first introduction, on-screen introduction. How did you feel when you read that that was going to be your first on-scene part?
I mean, I really love to play fun characters and characters with, crazy circumstances or conditions or whatever. So I feel like it was a pretty exciting scene to see right away. And I don't know, I feel like coming in with a bang is always fun as a character in any show or movie.
I feel like it makes you so memorable if you like have a really good first scene. I was thinking
Yeah.
about that with like characters I usually love in other shows and movies. Usually it's like they have like a really tight intro.
Yes, and this show especially has done such a great job. We're talking about the first episode not too long ago, and the show has such a great way of introducing characters in a way that makes you immediately understand who they are. You kind of get a sense of their place in the story and the character that they play. It's really interesting, and you were no exception to that role. Like the moment you were on screen, we kind of got it. Like we had a glint of who you were in the first episode. Ilya mentions Sasha briefly when Shane asks Ilya if he had ever been with a man before. He mentions Sasha briefly, but then once you're on screen, like we immediately understand this character. We understand why Ilya had kind of this attraction to Sasha because throughout the season we find out like Ilya has like kind of a thing for danger, and Sasha really represents that danger.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's funny because when I originally auditioned for this, it was actually like January of 2025. So yeah, the beginning of last year. And it was when they just released the auditions for like the leads. So I actually auditioned for Ilya. That's how it all started. And that's like super common in like film and TV. They kind of do that, they'll do the leads first and then kind of work their way down. And so when I heard back, they were like, wait, we're going a different direction with Ilya, but we really, really liked Kaden. They sent an email to my agent and they're like, so we have a role in mind for him. And I said, okay, cool. Thinking there's going to be like a follow-up when they get to it with like the audition and the tape. And then I didn't hear anything for a while. And then out of the blue, boom, the character description with the offer. So they didn't even like need to bring me back into the room or see me put down a tape for Sasha, which I was like, okay, love when that happens. And so I think that perhaps it was like the way that I auditioned as Ilya. They almost saw Sasha in my approach to Ilya, right? Because every actor is just making choices. Every time they act or do put down a tape, they're just making choices for a character.
That's like, I feel like you didn't get what you went out for. That's a pretty good, but we do have something that we liked you for and not having to do anything for it. That's really nice. I feel like that's like a flex for you. Like, oh, I didn't need to audition for the role I got.
Yeah, basically. Funny.
And I mean, Ilya and Sasha are kind of two faces of the same coin, you know. So you obviously did something that really impressed them when you auditioned for Ilya, because kind of Sasha sort of represents, to me at least, like one path that Ilya could have gone down with, like, because they came from the same place and they had the same sort of defining feature and secret that, you know, tied them together, and they kind of went down two separate paths. And so, like, maybe they just saw that that little wildness in you a little bit more than in Connor's story.
Yeah, perhaps. It was, oh my God. Like, it's so fun when you get to play, like I was saying, characters that are just so kind of edgy. It's funny because, like, I find myself, I try to be like a kind person, and I feel like often people read my energy and they're like, you're sweet. Like, I'm like, yeah, but I have so much fun. That's where I get permission from the world, is in acting, to be able to kind of investigate, explore, and like embody like that kind of like the bad side, or like the, you know, that part of me that's just like, you know, so I think it's fun in that way because it gives you permission to kind of investigate that. And yeah, I mean, even as I was like doing my work on the character Sasha, now like he's only like mentioned even in the books, like he's like Jacob Tierney really brought him to life by like kind of expanding on his character in the show. But because of that, it's really fun because I got to like kind of just discover and define who Sasha is and his history, etc. You know, with in partnership with Jacob and others, because there's a lot that's unsaid, right? So you really get into the detail of like, what is Sasha's life like in Russia, and how did he get here, and what was the involvement with Ilya like, and like all these things that we'll see season 2, season 3 coming up if they choose to go down that route. But you get to, as the actor, just have all that in your head and then kind of have that as the subtext as you're like playing with it. So, you know, like clearly Sasha is a person who loves to party. He's this like, you know, there's this thrill in life. And, you know, I think that drugs and addiction and alcohol and all the kind of that route is like, can be fun, but also is always on the edge of like it being, you know, something people are coping with or whatever it is. And so I think there's so many layers to it. He is like an interesting character, and he just kind of plays that seductive, what is it? Like, you know, a siren, you know, like very that. So I really, really projected that. And I gotta say, one of the best kind of like advices I've ever had from like any of the classes I've taken, schooling, from coaches, whatever, is like have fun. If you're not having fun, it can't really be good acting, because like, you know what I mean? When we're playing, we're there to play, right? It's like that play pretend. It's like, you know, so for me, it was so easy to have fun with a role like that. You know, like I really leaned into it. And when I settled into the scene with Connor and we were getting into it, like we were just playing. It's fun.
That is really nice. Joe and I were actually just talking earlier about like doing like content and stuff. And I do this podcast because I like it. And I don't know that I could continue doing it if I didn't like doing it. And I feel like I always have to remind myself, like, am I having fun doing this? I can be stressed, but have fun. And like, I got to remind myself that I'm also having fun, even if I'm stressed, because I feel like that's really important for what you do. I have to ask you about your Russian.
Oh, yes.
Were you already fluent, or did you like learn?
No. So funny enough, thank you. I had zero Russian experience coming onto this. If you talk to like any of my friends and stuff, I love to just put on a random accent, and it's, you know, because I'm an actor and that's just something I love to do. But I love accent work and languages, and, you know, accents can often also help with like characterization and jumping into different things. So for me, it was something I already like enjoyed doing. So then when I got to the audition, when I auditioned for Ilya, at the very end, there was like a line in one of the scenes we had to do. and it said in brackets in Russian. I literally contacted my friend who speaks Russian, and I said, translate this for me. And so he did, and then I had him kind of say it, and so I just practiced. And then I did that for the tape. I just put it down by speaking that Russian. And I think that's what really caught their eye. But yeah, I had nothing coming into this. But it was amazing because the production provided us with a Russian coach, a dialect coach, Kate Yablanovsky. And her and I are really good friends now. And she is just so incredible. It was just like a fun experience because, I got to do what I normally do, prepping for an actor or for a character, but then also had this side where I'm like working on a language and like the dialect, etc. It was pretty crunch time, not gonna lie. Like by the time I heard, oh, you got the part, so when picture up, they did a lot of the Russian at the beginning of shooting. So yeah, it was really quick. But it was a really great challenge, and I had a lot of fun. So
the timeline on this was like a pretty truncated timeline for a show, right? Like
yeah. I think from top to bottom.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say, normally I feel like even in like really big budget movies, folks who don't know Russian or don't have a Russian accent often come off super cartoony. Y'all pull off not sounding cartoony at all with having no background, which is really impressive.
Thank you. Yes, we seriously owe it to Kate because there's a skill in being able to like listen and reciprocate the sound in your mouth.
Yeah.
But it goes further than that. Like you really need someone who also has an ear. Because also, even when we hear our own selves, we don't hear ourselves, right? Like there's a whole like biology to it. We're hearing like an echo inside our head coming out. Our voices sound way different than what we're interpreting it or whatever. So I think that's true for even when we're trying to mimic and stuff. There's only so much you can do. So having someone who knows exactly how to pronounce things, correcting you, that's the extra mile you need. And also you need someone who's very patient.
Honestly, shout out to Kate because I feel like everyone is shocked whenever they find out you guys are not Russian.
I still have people on Instagram commenting on like our posts to be like, wait, they're not Russian? Wait, like the Russian guy's not Russian?
It's so shocking.
Like,
well, and seriously, especially Connor, like the amount of Russian I had, it's like, okay, that's one thing. The amount of Russian Connor had was insane. Yeah. He is such a talent and such an incredible person, an easy person to work with. Give him all the flowers because he really did it. Him and Kate did it. And it's very impressive and very impressive, especially like the monologue, right? Like that he did. Wow. So
when I watched that, I was like, oh, okay. He like knows Russian. That's why he's so good at this. And then that's not the case. When I was a kid, my grandma used to try to teach me. She would speak Spanish to me. She was from Puerto Rico, and she would like be like, never mind, I'm not teaching you anymore because I would not be able to like roll my R's. And I just was like terrible at it. So even as a kid, like with a family that spoke a different language, I still sucked.
Yeah. Oh my God. And in Russian, there's letters we don't pronounce in like English where it's like a soft L and a hard L, or like a soft D sound and a hard D sound. It's like, what? Why? So, yeah.
Kaden, when did you realize the show was a big hit? Like, what was your indicator? Oh, this show's generally is popular.
Oh my God. Honestly. Okay. So there's two layers to this. Number one, let's just start at the end. I don't think anyone was expecting it to be the sensation that it is on this scale. Like it's actually kind of, wow, it's overwhelming. I can only imagine how the boys are handling it, like just 0 to 100. But it's also fantastic to see like something like a queer show hit this type of level of, but on the other hand, we did have a sense that it was going to be incredible. Like when we got on set, we saw our like the framing, the picture, like the cinematographer, and like just like all
it is gorgeous.
It's insane, and all the people, like in all their different positions and production or whatever. Like everyone was just excellence. We're all like, oh my gosh, we got like either we got lucky or Jacob knows what he's doing, and I feel like it's definitely a bit of both.
Yeah,
but truly, what the indicator was. there was already a massive fan base. And I'm
Yeah,
coming to
I didn't realize that, but there already was for the books. Yeah.
Like, I actually feel like between gamers and book lovers, I think book lovers are actually like the most insane fans that exist on this planet. Yes. So they were already like warning us, being like, "Oh, it's like you guys have no idea what's about to happen. Like, this is huge." We're like, "Yeah. Thank you for the love and support." And then boom.
Because like even there's been some books that have been like I forget the name of the Colleen Hoover book. It ends with us. Like, you know, that book was wildly popular and the movie did okay, but it wasn't such a hit. So it doesn't always translate, but like this really did. And I feel like sometimes a movie and a show can be really great on certain parts and then lack on others and not make it seem so great. And this felt it was like a combination of all its parts and all the parts were great. Because, you know, think about if like one of y'all was bad at pretending to speak Russian, it wouldn't have worked. You know, if like one person was like a weak link or something, it wouldn't quite work. But it felt like everyone was spinning at 100% on this.
Yeah. And I feel like everything like Ian was saying, everything in the show was so high quality. The acting was incredible, the cinematography, the soundtrack, even. It really brought everyone together. And books have a way of doing that, creating like a community of people, because reading can be very isolating. So that makes people, I love this book so much. I want to find other people that do. And it sort of builds a stronger community because people are actively looking for that community. And that really translated into the show because we had a similar situation with Heated Rivalry. It was kind of a hit from the first week. And social media really pushed that. There was edit after edit after edit. I mean, I knew I couldn't look at my phone before watching the show because there was going to be an edit the first 5 minutes that the show was released, every episode. So the community in this fan base is actually insane, and it's so nice to see because it really is centered around a queer love story, which is not something we get too often, and it's heartwarming, especially in this time in this country. It's America, you know. It's scary, so it's beautiful to see something so counter to what we've been seeing on TV being the news. So
I don't know if you'll agree, Kaden, but I do think that is another reason. All of the parts being great, and then the fact that it's a feel-good love story, and a lot of queer stories end with like, oh, someone dies, or like, oh, they're like a lot of them end or have like a bleak whatever, and there isn't really a bleakness to it, and while still feeling real and not feeling too twee, which is impressive.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think, yeah, all of us loved it too. Like we talked about it, the cast when we were shooting, just we're like, wow, what an incredible project to be a part of, and like story to be a part of. When I was auditioning for Ilya, I read the book, and it made me cry because it was like, it just was at a few different parts, but it was so good at just hitting like the whole full circle of you know, obviously it's like a specific experience of like, you know, professional athlete, NHL hockey players, but it like the whole queer experience, it felt very full circle. It felt very whole. It felt very like it was, you know, hitting at every angle and just really authentic. So then to see Jacob just so perfectly adapt that from book to screen. Yeah, it's, gosh, like even I'm sure like everyone, like I love seeing, I was earlier today, I was actually like on my phone scrolling and seeing like this real compilation of everyone's reaction to the kiss, the famous kiss on the ice. And it gave me shivers, and it was just so incredible. I'm like, wow, like they really did that. They really pulled off and were able to give people that experience. And I know Jacob has talked about it, how like that moment was something that kind of the whole show was shaped around for him, which I think was so incredible and special, because he knew that, you know, there's this through line, and that moment was like vital to everything, because it was vital for queer people now and queer people before us, right? Yeah. It was like this moment that like so many of us have felt robbed of. And so it's incredible. Yeah.
And you're gonna make me cry, Jesus.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, in my one group chat, a friend who had read the books and was a fan of the books was like, are y'all gonna watch a show? You know what? Like he was like very much like telling us all, and we were all kind of like, yeah, whatever, maybe we'll watch it. And then we all loved it. So he's like so excited that we're all into it. And he said actually that he was surprised all they pulled off from the book in that episode, and actually said about that kiss. And he's around my age, a little bit older. He's a lawyer, and he was like, I didn't realize that I've been waiting for a happy ending like that for all my life. And it was really nice to watch. And I thought that was like, I hadn't thought of it that way, but I feel like that's probably true.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
So, what is the wildest thing you've seen a fan say about you, your character, or the show? Just anything in general that you're like, wow, that's wild.
I mean, honestly, the fans have been so nice. I in my experience, I've had a really good time interacting with fans. But of course, especially given like the content in this type of show, wow, the internet is a place where people feel like they can say whatever the heck they want. I have a good sense of humor, so a lot of it has made me just laugh. But I will say, from a fan, the coolest thing I experienced was I actually have there's a fanfic written about Sasha.
Ooh.
Online on, you know, the website AO3? Yeah.
We're both gay nerds, of course we have heard of it.
Yeah.
And so I had this interaction, you know, with someone, and they wrote this, and it came around a circle and got to me, and I got to read it. And it was really well done. It was actually really well done. It's cool to see how, like, you know, fans or supporters or just whatever, they will take anyone from their favorite universe and they can write a whole new universe of itself on that specific character. So that was just like crazy and wild to read. And then seeing like the complete like similarities between their version of this like kind of story spinoff, whatever, of Sasha and, you know, Ilya beforehand versus like some of the things that were actually like implied or dripped in about Sasha in the actual show was cool. It was almost just like maybe there was some kinetic conversation between them and Jacob and the team, but I don't know.
I really thought you were gonna be like, there was fanfic and I turned into a werewolf or like something wild.
I wish. That would be fun.
If only we had our hands on that script before this, we could have acted out the scene. It would have been amazing.
Yes.
Missed opportunity.
What are some of your like recent favorite like movies and shows? Has there been anyone that's like, aside from the one you're in, that you've been like really into?
Yeah. I really love happy endings as well, but I'm a sucker for like tragedies. I don't know why. Like Greek tragedies. Maybe I like to cry. I don't know what's happening, but
I understand.
Yeah.
So there's so much depth in some of those stories. So I think movie-wise, Beautiful Boy.
Okay.
I wasn't necessarily recent, but I'm thinking about movies that just really shifted something inside of me.
Is that the Timothy Chalamet one? No.
Yes, yeah. Okay, Timothy Chalamet and Steve Carell.
Okay, yeah, I did want to see that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it just wow. It really, like, you know, a movie that or a film or whatever you experience where you sit down and when you leave you feel like you've changed as a person.
Yeah.
I feel like that was one for me. TV series too for me. Andor.
Yes.
I'm actually a huge Star Wars nerd. I've been since day one. Yes. Okay. I was like hoping one of you would.
I mean, my name is Joe Organa for a reason.
Obsessed.
Yeah.
No, it's just so well done. I'm not gonna lie. I really feel like Disney has really curated a lot of like when they, you know, bought the rights and stuff for Star Wars, they really went kind of a more youthful, childlike kind of approach, obviously for the type of audiences. But I loved Andor because of how grounded it was and like did not hold back. It's just such an incredible and like Luthen Rail and Stellan Skarsgård is like, wow. Obviously, I mean, there's so many incredible people in the actual show who just, wow, and like the speech, like I remember watching this speech just the other day, it came up as a reel as well.
Such an incredible show.
I have reposted Mon Mothma's speech like 100 times this year, just because it's like consistently relevant. Joe and I, we recorded about
so many.
Andor.
We did, yeah, we did. Yeah. We recorded a series about it. They deserved so many awards. Like and the fact that like so much of that show is reflected in the world today, and it's so dark and gritty, and like it's the Star Wars story so many people wanted for so long. And man, I wish we had another season coming.
Oh my God, I know.
Kaden, I agree with you though, because I've been like a medium Star Wars fan most of my life, so I've like dipped in and out. I've watched Mandalorian, Ahsoka, I kind of gave up, and then I didn't really watch any till Andor because everyone kept saying to watch it. And it really is like a wild, I am surprised the show like that got made considering everything. Yeah, and like I was trying to recommend it to friends who aren't into like any like nerdy genre stuff, and I was like saying what you said, and I was like, but it's like grounded in reality. I know that sounds insane for a space opera with like aliens, but it really is.
Yes. Yes, no, 100%.
I really hope we get to see some of them again.
Oh my God, I know. I know. I always wonder why did it get canceled? Or
I think it just was always 2 seasons, and then that was the end of the story.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There's so many incredible characters that were introduced in that show, though, and amazing acting. I would love to see Clea's story continue because she was such a badass. One of my favorite characters. Like all of it. It was so good, and it ended on such a open-ended note. I feel like there's more stories to tell.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. What are some LGBTQ movies or books or shows that you like kind of have meant a lot to you or were inspirational to you?
Yeah, the first kind of LGBTQ book I ever read was actually, have you guys read Swimming in the Dark?
Mm-mm.
Okay, it's Thomas, I think something. I don't remember the author. But it is it's about a Polish kind of gay man in communist Poland, I think in the 80s.
Okay.
And it was just insane. Yeah, it was really beautiful. I think for my first read for something queer like that, so under such intense circumstances, and seeing how like this like queer man had to like try to exist in a world where like, you know, it was hard kind of everywhere in the 80s, but especially under like that type of communism was terrifying, right? Because there was like, it was illegal, like people would disappear, a lot of bad things would happen, and so there was a lot of fear. But that book had so many incredible moments where, you know, this love interest that he meets along his journey, it's like there's pockets of heaven that they just experience together in a world that's so gray. Mm-hmm. It's just, there's no way you can't be so emotionally affected by that. And like, it's cool to see something like Heated Rivalry where it's like, oh, we get the happy ending and we get like the happy journey. But then for something like this too, it makes those fragile moments like so much more like just like melancholic and precious, because you know that there's such a limited time, like they're going to end before they even begin, right? Or like they're meeting, I think the first time you meet is like they both are on like a campground somewhere and they meet in the forest and they're like swimming in the river together. And there's just this beautiful like, so I don't know.
That sounds like a very similar to like Ilya and Sasha's story. They're kind of growing up in a place, you know, that's really harsh towards the LGBTQ, and so under a communist regime. So I mean, that had to have maybe even subconsciously informed a bit of your character.
Yeah, exactly.
What's one thing you would have liked to get to do or like to get to do moving forward with Sasha?
Oh, I mean, a spin-off series, of course. Like,
duh.
I mean, I'm telling you, like, there's like, there's micro fan bases as well, right? And there's one developing for Sasha. There is. And
nice.
There's been a few people who have been like, we need a spin-off series of Sasha, or people being like, justice for Sasha, you know, because of the way it kind of ended between Ilya and I in the series. But yeah, I mean, a spin-off series would be super fun. Maybe his adventures in Paris.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Sasha
I don't know
and
if there'd be
Svetlana in Paris. I'd watch that.
Oh, I'd watch the hell out of that.
Right. There wouldn't necessarily be hockey, but there could. Who knows?
We don't need it. Yeah.
I barely I'm like, well, they play a game. I don't know. Like, I don't know the levels of like, what cup are they competing for now?
He's always so confused about that. He's like, I don't understand why they're on a different team now, and now they're on the same team. We have to explain it to him every time. But I think I would love to see Sasha and Svetlana in Paris. Very Emily in Paris coded. I would love to see that.
I feel like, that is Svetlana is closest, with Ilya, but she's also friends with Sasha. And it sounds like there was a bit of a group, if you will, there before, perhaps. So, we would love, we didn't really explore kind of the relationship between Svetlana and Sasha. So it would be really cool to kind of investigate that.
I gotta say, though, I know people, I have seen people being like, justice for Sasha. I gotta say, I feel like Sasha was not that pressed. I feel like you played it as like, all right. And like, that's the kind of confidence I want if a man rejects me, to be like, whatever.
I don't think Sasha is hurting for any attention.
No.
I think he's having a good time in Paris.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I think a lot of it I'm leaning into it just because I think it's fun banter and play with the comment section and fans. But yeah, no, I feel like for him, it really looked like he was just looking for a good time in a very selfish way, right? He's looking to try to do this thing that he knows he's had power for in that situation for so long. And then I think that moment is where that power was taken away from him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was that moment where it was like, no, not anymore.
I mean, whomst among us hasn't been like, well, this hookup is comfortable, so sure.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
My 20s living in New York.
Exactly. But I'm sure everyone's like, sure, Sasha, like you said, in Paris, I'm sure there's not a lack of opportunity for him.
Yeah, I would imagine not.
No. Yeah, I'm sure he's doing fine.
Yeah.
Kaden, thank you so much for talking with us. I appreciate you taking time out to chat with us. Let everyone know where they can find you online.
Yes. I mainly use Instagram. So it's just my name at Kaden Connors. You can find me there. Also on TikTok, actually, same name.
All right.
But yeah.
All right, cool. Well, thank you so much. And
thank you.
Talk to you later.
Awesome.
Joining us today, she plays Maria in Heated Rivalry.
Bianca Nugara, what's up, guys?
Hi. Thank you so much for wanting to do this. You have been a freaking delight to deal with, by the way. I've dealt with a lot of people booking for this, and you have been like so freaking sweet. It's been nice.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. This is my first ever interview / podcast, so a little nervy, but it's exciting.
I wasn't sure if you were I wasn't going to blow up your spot, but I'm very flattered to be your first interview.
Thank you.
Of course. So we've been asking everyone this. How did your audition go? Everything seems like it went pretty fast. How did your audition go and like you find out you got the part?
Well, as like everybody can see, Maria's only there for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah.
But like love. And I got the audition, I believe it was in March, and then I got the role April, and then we shot in May. So yeah, everything was really quick. It was a simple process. I honestly really didn't expect much to come out of my role personally. With the girl stuff, like I like when I started getting DMs with this girl, I was like, okay, like great. And then I guess I forgot, because it's just like a one-liner. So yeah, it was great.
I saw there's like fan cams of you and stuff on TikTok.
Yeah, and like I think that I'm a meme now. So it's been great. Thanks, Jacob. Like really, like this has been great for me.
I mean, it's such a great part to be to play in a queer show like this, because all you really need is a sassy one-liner and you're gonna have a bunch of gay fans. Like, we're gonna love you.
Yeah.
All you need to say is girl. And honestly, I'm Diva. She won. She won the episode, honestly.
I mean, honestly, it's really not hard to just like watch two good-looking people just, like flirt with each other and
Yeah.
support that, and like simply what it was. And then, you know, obviously meeting Jacob the first day can be intimidating. To go on any set and meet a director, and Jacob is just so lovely. It made me made me feel so like comfortable, and I just had fun with it. I'm like watching these two hot guys flirt. Yeah, girl, I'm here for this, you know.
So kind of method acting then, because you were truly living and experiencing as you were acting.
Really living an experience.
And like, I do think it is like all you got to do is like be the like hot sassy one and gay men will stand. But also I do feel like there is something about like we've all worked like retail jobs or service jobs, and like the friendships you form with those people, I often think those are stronger friendships than what you form at like a office job or, you know, a more like professional job. And that read real to me. Like, oh, we're like work boyfriend and girlfriend. Like I always have like my work wife, my work husband, and it fully read that you two were like work BFFs.
Yeah, it's so relatable. It's so true. Like you said, I feel like this has been an experience in my life. Like, you know, just working the retail jobs, like sitting around all day and like someone hot comes in, especially if they're a famous hot hockey player, and then you find out that they're gay, like they're even more amazing. Like,
Yeah.
so like,
Oh my gosh. I feel like Maria and Kip were absolutely kikiing the moments got left, like for the rest of the day. No smoothies were made correctly for the rest of the day.
no, only banana was thrown into.
When did you first realize the show was a hit?
Honestly, when I woke up to my Instagram having just notifications, phone's been a little bit dry for the past bit. So I woke up and I was like, oh, okay, what's going on here? And I'm like, damn, okay. I didn't know that the show had, I guess I didn't realize because I moved from Toronto to LA, and I missed the premiere over in, so I was like, okay, like when I get settled in here, I'll watch the show. And I hadn't gotten around to watching it yet. So I was like, oh my goodness, I guess that was like kind of my reminder, like, hey, it's out, watch it. And then I binge watch it in 2 days.
That's funny because we interviewed Benjamin, who played JJ, and he said the same thing. That's when he realized that he suddenly had a bunch of Instagram like notifications overnight.
Really quickly overnight, and then it just, yeah, it's great. The support is so appreciated and it feels so genuine. Honestly, I think people are just happy to see like these stories being told, especially in like such a male dominated, you know, sport. It's just really important, and I'm so happy that Jacob could tell this story. So yeah Canadian representation.
Yes. Shout out Canada.
Are you from Canada?
Yes, born and raised Canadian. Yeah.
Cool. I've been asking everyone this, and there's been funny answers, and I might have just blown up your spot with an answer because you have a bunch of TikTok fan cams. But what's like the wildest fan reaction you've seen, either to your character or to the show?
I mean, wild. I feel like people are just sending me a lot of love. Honestly, they were like, "You made me laugh." Like Maria was like that humor in like that episode 3, and a lot of people feel like they can just relate as like the girls supporting, you know, and it's just been love, just straight love, and it feels so. It's been lovely. Honestly, I'm very thankful for it.
You deserve all of the love, honestly. You really do. What are some more recent faves of yours, either shows or movies, just like in general?
Okay, so honestly, my relationship with TV shows has been really bad right now. It feels like a relationship when I'm just like stopping and starting. I think I started Emily in Paris, and then like we broke up for a bit, and now I this with my roommate, and I fell asleep on the couch, and she's like, "What the bleep? Wake up!" I don't know what it is with me. But that's just the honest truth. But I did watch Heated Rivalry, and it So that's yeah. In terms of shows and TV, I just really haven't been watching too much as of right.
I think that's kind of common with actors, and it's kind of understandable because it's like, well, I'm doing this for work, and like, I'm good. Like in your off time, you're like, I'm good. I don't need to like watch what I work.
Yeah.
So I do kind of get that, and I feel like a lot of my actor friends will be like, oh, I've been wanting to see this, I've been wanting to see this, but haven't watched any of it. And that's like pretty common.
Yes, I've been like watching like throwbacks. I think I watched Back to the Future. Was one of those things. Vicky Cristina Barcelona,
Mm.
Paris, like just like just exploring how I'm feeling with the older movies, and just living my life that way.
I feel like a lot of people right now are watching a lot of retro stuff. I think it's maybe because of the crazy things going on in the world right now. It's kind of comforting to watch kind of all that older stuff. A lot of the newer stuff is pretty intense, and maybe is it talks a little bit about what's going on in the real world. And it's kind of nice to escape into a Back to the Future or something so comforting and homey like that.
It is. It is for sure. It is for sure. Yes. So when
Yeah.
did you guys, don't mind me asking you a question? When was this podcast formed and started? Because this is awesome.
So, oh boy, I've been doing this podcast for a while. I interned at BuzzFeed in 2014, and that kind of taught me how to do all of the like pitching agents and pitching folks and like talking to people. And those were like the first ever celebrity interviews I did. And especially back then, BuzzFeed was like peak. So like Nick Jonas was coming into the office, Gillian Anderson, like all these like wildly famous folks. And it kind of got me used to it because you just have to be, right? Because they're coming in and out and you're like talking to them. And I don't know, that I always feel like that internship led to me doing this because it taught me how to do that. This started as just a Buffy the Vampire Slayer podcast. I had been talking about it with some friends on Twitter back in the day, and we were like, we should do a podcast. And eventually the other two like had to drop out when we first started. And then it became me, and I actually just brought Joe on to co-host with me for this. Because I thought we had good chemistry, and we got our silly shirts.
I'm not a Buffy girly, but I do love a hot athlete, so I'm in the right place at the right time.
Hey, I'm so happy to have this conversation too, because I'm a fan. I'm like pinching myself. I'm like, am I really a part of this show? Like, this is so, it's just so good. Like, you can't not.
Yeah, I think it was either Benjamin or Kaden Connors. One of them was like, well, I don't mean to sound, maybe it's not the biggest show. And we were like, no, it is one of the biggest shows. You're allowed to say that it's one of the biggest shows.
It is
right now.
I feel like no show has made a cultural impact, like even Stranger Things this year, bigger than Heated Rivalry. Like everyone's talking about it. Like I remember I was on the moment that show premiered, I was watching the first 2 episodes. I was like on top of it. And I remember as the weeks were going on, I wasn't talking about it with my all my coworkers because I feel like at first it was like a lot of like the girls and the gays, and that's not really who I work with. And so I was kind of like emotionally reeling every day, truly going through it, because whatever was happening to these characters was truly affecting me because I have nothing else going on. It's just these people were my children, and I was living that. And so and then as the weeks went on, I started to hear them talking about it like without me, and I'm like, I would run out of my desk, whatever work I was doing, push off to the side and be like, are you guys talking about Heated Rivalry? And they're yes. And it was crazy to see like the development over like the 5 weeks it was airing to becoming like something all the girls and gays were talking about to something everyone was talking about. It was such a cultural phenomenon.
I loved, it's so important. Like it's so great that these stories are being told, and I'm so happy and that I'm just happy that a Canadian, director
Yes.
put out there first, like something like this. And it just was done in such a tasteful and just, I was sobbing. So, I mean, just all of the, like, it's just great. It was great.
Yeah. And we talked about this a lot, how like some people are like, oh, it's just porn. It's like, no, it's sexy, but it's still like a really well told story and like well shot and like.
No,
it's such an incredibly emotional show. And I think maybe people had that argument the first episode and like maybe they didn't give it a chance, and that's kind of what they told themselves. But if you watch that show, the acting is incredible. The cinematography is incredible. The music is incredible. like it's such a heartwarming, important story. And we not that many queer stories get told in such a beautiful and like heartwarming way. A lot of the times it's very stressful and very sad, and and this just wasn't that. It was like a comforting, like warm cup of tea or something. Like, it really brought us a respite when we needed it in this world, which is crazy right now.
For sure. Yeah. Very necessary. And yeah, like the way that it was done, I totally agree. It was very, like, it just felt very supportive. And like this, especially with the parents too, like those moments, like Kip's dad or Shane's mom, that moment, like, man, like, I don't want to go back. I'm like, the pulling at my heartstrings. Like, it's just those, to have that support within the show and not make it this whole thing, and just it's just life. We're just vibing and we're living, and this is real stories and real people, and like this is what it is. Like, this should be the norm, Like, it's kind of sad that this is like, it's only now in 2026 that these are the way that stories are being told in this way only now. But I'm happy it's being done, and and it just blows off and pops off like this as it should. So
yes.
Yeah, I think it was an interview with Francois Arnaud where he was saying that like when they talked to like an American company, they didn't want like the guys to even kiss till like episode 5. And like, that's wild, right? For like a love story. It's like, well then that would be really weird if they did not like touch or kiss. Like
100%. I think the touches and kisses were very necessary personally,
No, I agree.
Absolutely.
To Joe's point, I've actually now had a lot of straight friends that have been watching it, and my straight best friend and his girlfriend have been going through it. And he was like, holy crap, these guys are really hot, Ian. And I was like, yeah, they are. And he was like, I mean, the ladies are also really hot. I was like, yeah, everyone's hot. You're right. But it was just funny. Like, that was his like recap of the first 3 episodes, was like, everyone's really hot. And I was like, yeah, that's true too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
People falling in love. Anybody falling in love, honestly, to me is just it's beautiful. And it's just the way that it was done. I feel like it was really authentic too and real.
Yeah. There's something to be said for it being authentic, but not like they address that all those guys are worried about coming out, but we don't have to like make it miserable. We don't have to make it like, oh, they're getting like hate crimed, or oh, they're getting called slurs all the time. Like, it's nice to have the realness of they're nervous about it, but we don't need to see like people being awful to them, because like
it's just unnecessary. That's why I'm happy that there really wasn't much. There really wasn't anything like that. So that was nice.
Yeah.
We have that a lot in other media. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's room for every kind of story. Like straight love stories run the spectrum, right? There's stories that are tragic, there are stories that are beautiful, there's like stories that are funny and sweet. Queer love stories can have that too. Like, we don't need to show every aspect and every reality in every show or movie. It's beautiful to have to watch something really serious and dark and gritty, and then also have something beautiful like Heated Rivalry that's so sweet and heartwarming. It's nice.
And it's so nice for like the younger generations too, to like, even, I know Maria just says girl, but just seeing like a friend supporting, their friend, and being that person that can like bear witness, like, hey, this is actually happening to you. Your fairy tale love story is happening in real life. You're not, this is not a delusion. This is reality. Friend, and I'm seeing it for you, because sometimes I feel like, people can be in those too good to be true moments where it's like, is this really happening? And it's nice having a friend supporting and pushing you. And I think that's what the women in this show are all kind of doing. And they're
absolutely
doing things, and they're supporting, and they're, and it's just so lovely. And I've had a lot of like, I guess, fans messaging me saying like, thank you for being that friend to Kip and stuff. And I was like, that's just so beautiful.
But no, and that it's true. Like, the women on the show, which I think often we also don't get in queer love stories, is showing how like having that support system is also really important, I think. Just like in general, but especially when you're like younger and closeted, and I don't know, that was such a lifeline for me. I worked at Barnes and Noble like when I was like that age in my 20s, and yeah, I had so many people that were so supportive of me. Like I had like it'd be like, oh, my work BFF is this 19-year-old like straight girl, and then this like 55-year-old mom who's like super cool, like. And there's like I don't know, I really appreciated the show. All of y'all I thought felt real and were just supportive and nice to your friends, which is nice.
100%. I think everybody, yeah, from the cast that I met, everybody, they were just genuinely cool people. It made it just, I only worked there on set for 2 days, so it was pretty quick, but I feel like I formed some great bonds with the people that I met, and just I think that's how a great show or anything great is made. Just like good people coming together and doing the thing that they need to do. And it just results, and people can do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Absolutely.
I think that's also a good point, because people do feel the like vibes of like, oh, these folks get along. Oh, these folks are cool with each other. And I feel like you don't see that often, but like, I grew up a big nerd. So like the Star Trek cast, they were all friends and they would hang out and go to dinner. And like as a kid, I'd be like, oh, that's so cool. Look, they're like actually friends. And even as an adult, that's nice. It's nice to see, right? Because you're like, oh, these people are like having fun. Where there's other shows where it's like, ooh, I think these people hate each other.
Yeah, and it still ends up being great. But like, yeah, I can definitely say that from the people that I've met when I worked on this, everybody was so lovely. I mean, Jacob greeted me for the first second I met him. He was like, "Hey," and he gave me like a hug, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like, can I stay here? Like, stay in the background of the scenes and just be in this environment? There's so much love here."
I love that.
The background.
You're like, I'll just hang
So
out.
sweet. Yeah.
What are some like LGBT, if there are any LGBT like Q movies or shows or books that like have like inspired you or resonated with you? Have there been any that you've like consumed?
Okay, so as I mentioned, I'm Canadian, and I always kind of looked up to Shay Mitchell, and her and I share. Her previous manager is actually my current manager. I had the same acting coach as her, and I loved Pretty Little Liars growing up. So seeing her like in a gay role and just like for, I don't know, crazy amount of seasons, like that was something like I'd love to do that, and I still would. So, putting that out.
Manifesting.
God, there were a lot of seasons of that show, weren't there?
I don't remember. It's been quite a few years, but yeah, just following like the trajectory of like her career through and going through my career, and like happening to like be signed to her previous manager. Like I didn't even go out and search for that. So I would say that was something that had inspired me from younger, and
that's cool.
yeah, so I'm really happy to be a part of this show, and hopefully more queer roles in the future. Yeah.
I hope this leads to nothing but great things for you, because you're great. What's something you would have liked to have done with your character or to do with your character if you were in season 2 at all?
Well, I saw a comment saying that there should be a love story between me and Elena, which is funny. A lot of people have been mixing us up. I guess that would be the wildest thing from your previous question, that people, like a lot of people have been confusing Elena and I as the same person, which is understandable since, Jacob actually told me we were supposed to, they might have, Maria was not supposed to exist at one point. They were just going to come into one character, but I think he fought for my character, which is so nice because, smoothie girl needs here. But yeah, I would love to fall in love if I maybe, and yeah, maybe with Elena. So
I do love because Elena and Maria don't actually interact, right?
We are in the Kingfisher scenes together, but we don't really interact much. But
I was rewatching last night to prep, and I forgot that Elena says like, well, Maria is smarter than you. Like Elena like has mad respect for Maria, and I love that.
Yeah, no, for sure. But yeah, once I saw that comment, like I was like, that'd be super interesting to, develop.
I would be very into that because both of y'all were like great, and it's nice to have like like those both those roles for me were very memorable, and I think the show does a good job of making these smaller roles very memorable. So like you remember, like I posted about you coming on, and so many people were replying, "Girl!" Like so excited.
Never thought one line would, really do that to
Well, and
people.
like I saw there's like I can't remember who posted it because I was like looking up stuff about your character, and someone posted the like last time after he says something like, "Oh no, he's straight," and your delivery of girl, like the way you look down, and the caption says "girl" parentheses derogatory.
Oh my gosh, there's so much I have kind of been not looking because my little brother's been sending me all the edits, like the TikTok edits, and like my friends who I haven't talked to in years since high school have been like, "Hey, like you're a meme on this video or that video," and I'm like, "Love that my face is there," So it's great.
Just today, Joe posted something on his story that was like, "Only gay people make these memes," and I feel like now
Yeah.
you're in the canon of like gay people memes.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm so happy to be here. So I truly appreciate the support.
Yeah. Yeah, girl will live on for at least a decade in
Yeah.
gay memes.
Yeah.
Man, I hope so. I can't say girl the same anymore though, because I really do say girl to my friends. Now I'm like,
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, that's why I felt natural because it was like, yeah, this is how people talk at work. This is how
Yeah.
people talk to each other that know each other. So like
Definitely.
he got that you were like, girl, give me a break.
yeah. Well, like I said, it's just easy to watch two good-looking people fall in love in front of your eyes, and it's just
Yeah.
easy to have fun with that. So, yeah.
So I was wondering, do you speak Spanish at all? My
A
Spanish
little.
is terrible. Don't worry.
I speak a little bit of Spanish, but I'm actually not Spanish.
Oh, you're not?
I'm
I thought you were
not.
Latin.
I'm Portuguese, and my parents are from Sri Lanka. So, I
Okay.
mean, I'm mixed. My parents are from Sri Lanka, but we're brown people that have been colonized by the Portuguese and the Dutch. And our culture is called burger.
Okay.
Like literally burger.
That's funny. My mom used to get asked if she was Portuguese. My mom's Puerto Rican, and she used to get asked if
Oh,
she was Portuguese sometimes.
yes.
Um, and I remember her saying, like, yeah, that happens a lot. Sometimes people confuse the two. So stupid me. Sorry about that. I totally thought you looked like family to me.
Listen, we can still be fam, the
Right.
Latin, or I mean, we're all fam, like
Yeah.
it's just all.
Yes.
But yo puedo hablar un poco español because I always play like Latin. I tend to audition for more Latinx roles because there's not really roles for like Sri Lankan,
Yeah.
Dutch mixed
Right.
people.
Yeah. Hey,
Um,
that Spanish would have tricked me if you said that and then said, yeah, I'm fluent. I'd have been like, oh, yeah, fuck yeah, you are. I,
yeah.
I think I told Joe this. I teach for my day job, and just last week the new semester started, and one of my students, she's from DR, and I was like, oh, I'm Puerto Rican, and she was like, she started talking to me in Spanish, and I was like, I got 3 of those words. Can you tell me what the other 2 meant? And I felt so dumb.
Gosh, but Dominican Spanish, like I feel like that's just like a known thing that is just so hard to understand.
Mhm.
It's like they
Dominican
got.
and, Dominican and Puerto Rican it's like a lot of slang Spanish, which I only learned when I moved to New York, and people would be like, why do you say it like that? And I'd be like, that's how my grandma used to say it.
So are you both currently based in New York?
No, Joe.
We're both based in New Jersey.
Oh, New Jersey. Okay,
Yes.
lovely.
I lived
Yeah.
in New York for 10 years. And then this is where I'm from, and I moved back to where I was from. But I did love living in New York. Joe, you lived there for a bit,
I
right?
did, yes. I mean, I grew up there.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I did, yeah.
Wow. Fun place to
Yes. Yeah, it's honestly it's weird. It's a weird experience because it's something that really changes you as a person growing up in a really urban big city like that. And it's hard to relate to people sometimes because I feel like made me a very polarizing person in a lot of ways. Like, I feel like when you grow up in the sort of metropolitan New York City area, it like, I don't know, it really informs who you are. You experience so many different things that, you know, someone from like the Midwest would never experience. And I'm sure it's like that in most big cities. Like you just, things happen, like you bump into celebrities, you know, like at 16, you're like, oh, you know what I mean? You just, I have so many incredible memories of growing up there, but it was also really difficult because it's a lot of people and a lot of intense people. And but I think it makes you really street smart growing up in a place like that. Like you really know how to take care of yourself.
Yeah, it's lovely to like have that exposure to the world, because I grew up in like a small town I never lived in the city. So now living in LA, at first I was like, man, I don't know if I can do this. Like so much happening 24/7, and I'm like, I'm overstimulated, you know. But now I'm like finding the beauty, and there's just so much more diversity in the cities, I find, and that's like you know. So yeah.
Yeah, it's great. You get exposed to so many different people and you learn so much, and there's so much more to do and experience. And I think you're going to do great there.
Thank you. I'm enjoying the nice weather, because
I mean,
pictures every single day of the snow, and I'm like, Dad, I understand, you know, I get it. Do you want to come here too?
We are currently, Joe, is it like 8 inches it's at, I think?
Yeah, it's blizzarding out right now. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
and we don't live that close. We live like an hour away from each other, but it's like snowing like crazy over here in Jersey. You know, my classes have been canceled for the next 2 days already, but yeah, I don't love the snow. That I feel like living in New York, actually, Joe, I don't know if you can co-sign this. It was like even worse when it would snow, because everything was just like icy and slippery, and you're like stepping in puddles walking to the subway, and it's just like, oh God.
Snow in the boot, like just slush, like you just feel icky.
Yeah,
it's nice.
You do.
First winter away for a bit, but home is home.
Yeah, enjoy it. And I lived in Buffalo for several years, and so I know a little bit of that, a little bit of the Canadian vibe, a little bit. You know, I mean, it's brutal. Like it would snow a foot a day in winter, and we just pushed it out of the way and just went to work. You know what I mean? We didn't even think about it. But then, you know, sometimes it would snow like 8 feet in the matter of hours, and then it would get a little hairier.
It should be illegal for like people to have to continue their day-to-day routines. Like what? That's like, we need like mental health days for like as adults. Like we need days, because what? Like now I have to shovel and then go live my life and pretend I'm happy at my 9 to 5 right now.
Agreed.
When I was like 19, I worked at a movie theater, and our boss was from somewhere where it snows a lot. It might have been Minnesota, somewhere. And he was like, oh, he was new to Jersey, and he was like, you're all babies. Like, we're not closing. You all have to come in. And his car got stuck in the snow driving into work.
Deserved.
Right. It was like, oh, I thought we were being babies.
Right.
Did it snow like crazy where you were from?
Yes. Yeah. I'm about an hour away from Toronto.
Okay.
Yeah, 30 minutes without, but yes, very bad snow. Very bad.
Was a lot of the I know the main cast wasn't all from Canada, but was a lot of the other cast from Canada? Do you know?
Yeah, like everybody I worked with is from Toronto, actually.
Okay.
And then Rob, Kip, and Nadine, all of them they're all like in the city, which was nice. I don't think in the recent things that I have done, I was kind of the only Canadian. So it would have that. I mean, it doesn't really matter to me, but it feels nice that, like, you know, we all can understand and relate to each other just a little bit better. And I think there was a connection because of that too off the bat quicker than, you know, so.
Because I feel like a lot of American shows do film in Canada, but then they just like cast American actors and then.
Lots of American actors, which is great. Like, Americans are amazing. You know, the reason why
debatable.
Yeah, we're hating on ourselves right now.
The climate and everything right now. Maybe that was I meant, like, the American actors that I've worked with have all been amazing, honestly. And I've learned a lot. And I feel like Canadians have this reputation of being really like apologetic and like super nice, and something that I really admire. And the American side of work is like just like free and like owning themselves and who they are. I'm not saying that Canadian performers and artists don't do that, but I just feel like I've personally seen that more with the American side, which I really appreciate. It brings more like authenticity and like groundedness to the work, which is inspirational.
Yeah. I feel like people say that in America, it's like Midwest people will say that about like New Yorkers. Like the joke is like New York or LA, it's like people will be like, oh, fuck off. And then like and like no one cares. It's like you just keep going. But it's funny, I've worked retail jobs, in New York and New Jersey. And New Jersey is where I would get the craziest customers. Because in New York, no one cares. Like, oh, you don't have the thing I'm looking for, whatever. And they just like leave. But then in Jersey, it'd be like someone arguing, like, well, no, you have to have the thing. And it's like, we don't have it. Like,
Yeah. We're intense here. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I was boldly, as we should.
Yeah. Bianca, thank you so much for your time. It was lovely speaking to you. Let everyone know where they can find you online.
You can find me on Instagram at Bianca Nugara. Thank you so much, Ian and Joe, for having me for my first interview. I feel like I don't even know what I've said. I've like blacked out for half of it, but I'm half a girl. And it was so lovely talking to you both. Thank you for making me feel comfortable.
Thank you for doing this.
Of course.
I appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you in many other things and standing.
So much.
Joining us today is beautiful human, youngest of 5, and beloved bartender Kyle on Heated Rivalry.
Hey, everybody. It's me. I'm Matthew Finlan. Join you from Toronto. Happy to be here, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for doing this. And I appreciate y'all did this on such short notice. Fit it in. I appreciate it. I always ask everyone, how did your audition go? And when did you find out you got the parts? I know some people found out like really close to shooting time. Some people, they had some time beforehand.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. Fun story. So originally, like this came to me like every audition normally does. It's like, it starts as a little email from my team that's like, hey, let us know if you're interested in this. And it was like, okay, what is this show? I sort of will read the storyline of the piece, whether it's a movie or a show. And I was like, oh, there's like a gay romance in this. I was like, yes, that's like a check. Okay, cool. That's something I can do. But the first role that came to me was actually for Scott Hunter, which we now know Scott. We know who that is, Francois. And I went back and looked at my email and I typed to my team and I was like, love the piece and what it's about, you guys, but read the sides and read the breakdown. I really don't think I'm Scott. But I was like, this Kip character, because the scene that they sent for the audition, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, is like Scott and Kip's first interaction at that smoothie store. And so I was like, there's this character named Kip who, I don't know, I'm just like connecting with him a lot more. So can we reach out to casting and see if we can get that? And so then they reached back and were like, yeah, they're not casting for Kip just yet. But they would still love to see you do Scott if you're down. And I was like, I guess, because in my brain, I'm like, an audition for one thing is an audition for like everything else that casting director may see you do. So I was like, sure, let's just like shoot it, I guess. So do that. They were like, you're right, Matthew. They're not going to go with you for Scott. I was like, yeah, I could have told you that. But then they were like, okay, but here's Kip. We're doing the breakdown for that. And gave it like a swing and I guess a swing and a miss, but maybe not a complete miss.
I was saying not too much of a miss.
No, yeah. They obviously saw something they liked in you.
Totally. But I'll say like, so I put the tape out and didn't hear anything for like weeks as it sometimes goes. And then funny enough, I was in New York for the premiere of this film I did called Hell of a Summer, which was cool. And
yes, I looked you up and I was like, oh, I love that movie. Yeah, I watched that.
Yes, you get to play, a crazy theater camp twink counselor who, spoiler alert, gets axed in the head. And that was just like funny to be in New York. The premiere, it was like, yeah. And then I woke up and got an email and was like, oh, wait, that hockey show that I auditioned for, what was this? And then it was like, there's another role, Kyle, wondering if you're interested. It's not what you auditioned for. And I was like, okay, cool. I was like, yes, let's take it. And yeah, it was funny because the night before I had just been to Stonewall in New York. And then also I went to Flaming Saddles for the first time, which was just crazy. Like those of you listening who may not know, the bartenders like dance on the bar top like every 20 minutes. And I just was like, what is this? So to be like, get that New York bar experience. And then the next day be like, hey, you're going to be Kyle, the New York bartender. I was like, okay, cool. Maybe the universe was like sending me signs for me to pick up on. But yeah. And then the rest was kind of history. I just showed up on set. We did it and we rocked it. And like, it's kind of been crazy.
One, I gotta say, Stonewall was like my regular bar I went to when I lived in New York. That was like where I always went. I've held all
I should
of
let
our.
you know if I'd known, we could have connected.
No,
Yeah.
all of our podcast live events I've had, except for one, have been at Stonewall. Like the upstairs, there's that stage.
Okay,
Which
I didn't. You know what? I didn't get to see upstairs, so maybe there's much to be discovered there.
great. When we hang out there, we'll take you upstairs.
Perfect.
The like cutesy thing, I always am like, well, I performed on the same stage as Madonna and Taylor Swift because they have both performed on that stage.
Wait, no way.
I mean, you know, it's like I think Taylor Swift, Tyler Ferguson had a show and she was a surprise guest. Madonna called them on New Year's Eve, I forget what year, and just said, I want to perform tonight. And they were like, okay.
Yeah, why
Right,
not?
because who says no to Madonna?
That tends
right?
to happen when Madonna calls. Yeah.
I remember when they told me the story because I was mad. I was like, why didn't any of you tell me? And they were like, literally no one knew. Her people called the day of to say she wants to perform upstairs at Stonewall tonight.
That's amazing.
I don't know if you could get away with that now. You probably could. I mean,
if you're Madonna, I feel like you still can, but
do whatever you want, probably.
yeah.
Because like a gay bar, like I don't think anyone would be mad that like, oh, Madonna
Do you
is
think
now.
people would believe it's actually her, or would everyone be
I would
convinced
not
that
have,
it's just like such a good drag queen impersonating and be like, it's not actually you, but I'll believe it is. And she's like, no, it's me.
And I'm one
Probably
of
a
those
lot of
people that when I see like when I lived in New York, I would think, oh, do I know that person? Did I work with them? But it's because they're famous. But like my brain doesn't jump to like, oh, that's a famous person. It jumps to like, did I work with them? Did I go to college with them?
100%. Yeah. Oh, that's nuts.
When did you realize the show was such a big hit?
Oh, that's funny. Okay, I will say I have some people in my life who were aware of the series, the book series.
Yeah.
And so when I was telling them that, yeah, I did this show, it's called Heated Rivalry, based off this fan fiction, they were like, wait, is it that Rachel Reed series? And I was like, yeah, do you know about it? And so there were like rumblings before it came out where I was like, okay, this is one of the first projects where people around me are sort of like aware that this exists. I was like, okay, that's exciting. So that was like the first sort of tip off. But then I think like when I was aware that it was a hit was maybe like, I don't know, definitely after the first 2 episodes, my parents watched it, which like my parents love everything I do, but I was like, wait a minute, you guys watch this show? They were like, yeah, it was this hockey show. It was on. I was like, okay, what did you think? And they're like, well, it's explicit. I was like, that's one way to describe it.
That's so
and
sweet.
So it was
though.
like, I know, right? I was like, thanks for your support. And they were like, but wait, you're on that show? And I was like, yeah, that's the show that I filmed. So they didn't even know that I was in the show and they had watched it. And I was like, okay, that's a little bit of a tell. And then, yeah, after the episode aired where I'm sort of like in it, like my phone blew up from like every coworker or like hookup that I had, who still has my number was like, wait a minute, were you just Kyle? Were you just, thank you, Kyle. Was that just you? Were you on Heated Rivalry? And I was like, holy shit, like what? Like, what is this response? And so that's sort of when it clicked for me. I was like, okay. And then like literally since then, where haven't you seen the show been mentioned? Like, it's kind of crazy. Like our prime minister here has mentioned the show. And I'm like, that's, like, I don't actually remember any piece of Canadian content, let alone like a show in general that I've worked on or that I can remember in recent memory that has sort of like cracked the zeitgeist like it, in that like political figures, sports, like athletes, like it's really bridging all of these sort of worlds together that I'm just like still constantly astounded at its reach. I'm like, Connor's hosting SNL at the end of this month. I'm like,
it's insane.
Is it tonight? Or no, yeah, in a month. You're right.
I think it's actually February 28th. Make sure you all tune in. No,
yes, we will be locked in. Special episode. We're going to talk about it.
Exactly. I bet you will. Yeah, we can go to Stonewall and debrief after.
Yeah,
exactly.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. It's honestly just been wild. Yeah.
Even my dad, who's like pretty conservative, was like, oh, I think the guys on that hockey show you like were at the Olympics. And I was like, yeah, they were. Yes.
Right? Yeah, where are they?
Okay, maybe this is a good example. I was doing laundry, and here the laundry is like outside and around the back that I have to go. So I was like walking like hood up, like just, in my Sunday scrubs. And my neighbor was like, "Oh my God, are you Kyle?" And I was like, "You have to be kidding me right now." And I turned and I was like, "Oh, you're watching the show?" And she was like, "Yeah, thank you, Kyle." And I was like, "That is crazy."
That's amazing.
With like hood up and like my dirty underwear basically in my face. Somebody recognized it. I was like, "That's crazy." But love the support all around. I think it's incredible. And not just for a Canadian show, not just for a queer show, but like for any show in this economy, love that people are embracing it like that.
Yeah, you're right. It's like not just for queer shows, just like a show in general being this big is so unheard of these days. Like I feel like
right? It's like Heated Rivalry and Hannah Montana. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's those two things.
I feel like this is such a cooler, like a water cooler show, which we haven't had in so long. Like maybe Stranger Things, but I think the jumps between the years, between seasons, is kind of like cooled it down.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember like Game of Thrones at its peak? That's how Heated Rivalry felt. Like you just couldn't get away from it. Everyone was talking about it. It was such a cultural like hit. Like it was huge. It's still, I mean, it is huge. It's affecting everything still to this day. Like you still have like new professional athletes or retired professional athletes coming out. It's meant so much to people, and it's still on everyone's mind. Like we have all seen it, we've all watched it, but like we're still rewatching it. We're still like, I'm still immersed in the world. It's so good.
It blows my mind too, because it's like Rachel Reed's already started continuing the series, and so it's kind of cool. This is maybe one of the first examples of like an audience driving the content to be like freshly created. Like I know Game of Thrones existed, but we're still waiting on some of that to come out.
I don't think it's ever coming out.
No,
I don't think it is. And like, we all know what happened to J.K. Rowling. And so like, this is one
so it's
sort
a shame
of like,
that doesn't exist anymore either.
100%, maybe they should have been hockey players. But it's like, it's so cool. And so, it's just like, where will it stop? Who's to say? Who's to say?
I mean, Joe and I, just for the previous episode that we recorded, we had on a Connor McDermott Mastowi, who is a Team America Olympic speed skater, and he was in Germany training for the Olympics and leaving for Milan the next day.
Yes.
And like he loved the show so much that he was like, "Yeah, I want to come on."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is just mind-boggling. It's because like literally, to me, when I was joining it, like I knew of Jacob, obviously, like in Canada, we love Shorzy, we love Letterkenny, we love what he's done for us and everything. And then I knew him on like a sort of like outskirts professional level. Like Toronto's only so big. He literally does live like 2 streets over from here. And so when I got the part and was doing the show, it was just felt like a little kind of like ragtag Canadian production where it was like, oh, I know our DOP. Okay. I know our focus puller. I know our sound and hair makeup. And so it's kind of like doesn't really compute in my brain the like ripple effect and how far this is. But for you to say that like this athlete headed to the Olympics is like a fan of the show that we made, it's like, it's incredible. And I'm so humbled and grateful to be part of it. And it's just so cool to know that we can have that reach.
I teach freshman writing at a local college, 2 local colleges, and
flex.
I had to, not really. And I forget what the thing was in my slides where I was linking to something from McGill. I think it was like they had a list of sources or something that it was like useful for my students. And it was like, here's a link from McGill. And underneath that, I put the scene where they joke about McGill, and Ilya's like, "What the fuck is McGill?" And I just put a little star over the word fuck. And I could pick out each one of my students that immediately recognized what it was. Yeah. Like, I saw like 5 of them, like their faces lit up, and I was like, aha. And so after class, I was like, "Do you guys watch it?" And they're like, "Oh my God, we love it so much." And they were like talking to me about it. I was a little like, what can I talk to about this show with my students? But they're college.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, they're college.
Yeah. I feel like watching those first 2 episodes at the premiere in the theater with everybody, I was like, should we really be watching this as a group? Okay. Like,
I told Joe I've been listening to, I'm like big on audiobooks because I have like a commute between my 2 jobs, and I've been listening to the book. And the first day I put it on was the first day of the semester. It's like 7 a.m. and like hearing all those I was like, am I allowed to listen to this on the way to work? Like
it's intense. It's intense. Yeah.
It can be. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with driving to work with a boner.
You know, I
No.
guess who cares, right?
That's beautiful. It's 2026.
A little stick shift.
That's
you know?
right.
Yes. Or
Speaking
big
of,
stick shift. We don't know. Yeah.
Not for us to know. Not for us to say. They're all valid. All stick shifts
So
are
true.
valid.
So true.
Jesus Christ. What is the wildest thing? Speaking of, what is the wildest thing you've seen a fan say about either the show or your character?
Oh my God. The wildest thing I've seen somebody say.
Or like just seen online about it?
Do you know what? I feel like we've been so inundated and it with like so much commenting on it that I think for me, it's not any one like buzz phrase to be like, oh my God, Connor's ass or like Hudson's whatever. Like, although I'm sure it's there if you dig deep enough.
Right.
Yeah, it is.
To me, it's more just like seeing like Stephen Colbert talk about it in his opening monologue,
That's
or seeing
fair.
like Nikki Glaser at the Golden Globes make a joke about it. I'm just like, what? It's just, yeah, it's insane because so long I've described it to people as like, oh yeah, it's a little gay hockey show. And they're like, okay, cool. And now if you say that to anybody, they know exactly what you're talking about. And it's just, yeah, that blows my mind. Or like being at the bar and seeing somebody's phone feed and it's like something about the show. And it's just like, that's never happened to me where it's like
That's so cool.
I know it is. It's like weird. It's almost like, oh my God, I guess that's technically my job. Like I'm part of that. And like, yeah, it's weird. It's so weird. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine what that. I once was recognized in New York for my podcast, and I was like thrilled beyond belief. Like I moved out of the way because I didn't think they were talking to me, and like that kept me propelled for like a month.
Yes, yeah, a little confidence boost. You're like,
hell yeah,
yeah.
I actually was expecting you to say. A couple of people have said they've seen fanfic of their characters.
Oh shit! I don't want to. I mean, that I don't know if I would be able to handle. I mean,
no.
I'm sure maybe it exists. I'd love for it too. I say, hey, run with it. This thing is based off of fanfic, so like, keep it going.
The internet is so large. I'm sure there's Kyle in some universes is getting down and dirty, like
as he should. As he should.
Everyone
I don't know
deserves.
if you guys have read. Have you read Common Goal?
I was going to bring that up. Yes, talk about that because
well, like. Any goal, any hole is a goal, I guess. That's right. You know, in this one, no Common Goal. So I wasn't familiar with Kyle's trajectory when we were shooting the show, admittedly, or like sort of. So what happened was, got the part, great after auditioning for Scott and Kip, and then on set, Jacob was like, "Hey, so yeah, just so you know." There's this sort of like on again, off again, will they, won't they thing with you and Kip. So like, if you can like put that into your performance, that would be perfect. Thank you so much. And we kind of like glaze over it and we do it and he gets what he needs. And I'm like, great, we got it. He's like, yeah, perfect. I'm like, amazing. And he's like, and just so you know, yeah, there's like a whole fourth book about your guy. So like maybe check it out if you want. And I was like, okay. And then after the premiere, I saw it and I was like, oh, fuck, like what does Kyle do if that's what those guys do? Like shit, then maybe he gets up to some stuff. So I listened to the audiobook and yeah, Kyle is this little like, in terms of just like his sort of like being promiscuous, like he does have a past and that can like, we save that for anybody who doesn't know about that, but like he is a kinky little guy who is sort of like allows another goal or like a player to sort of have it's not like a sexual awakening, but he's very confident and sure of himself. And he's sort of like guides somebody else through their own, like becoming them, if that makes sense. I don't know if that does make sense. And like, maybe we'll leave it to Jacob to put it into much better words than I just said. And that's why he's the man who writes the script. But yeah, Kyle is like this like 25-year-old New Yorker. He's like sexually promiscuous, very confident. I think there's a line in the book where he describes it. He's like, I don't have a specific taste, but I do have like a quality of taste that he has. So he's like into a lot of the times older men, but sometimes he's into like twinks, or like he talks about at the bar that he works at, like dyed hair, tongue piercings. Like he likes to have a lot of fun. And I think he goes home with a lot of guys. But he hasn't found that true love and that true connection. And I'm like, tell me about it. So that's like Kyle. I know.
It's not unlike my 20s living in New York. Like,
yeah, it cuts close to home.
Yeah. So wait, so you didn't know till like when you auditioned, you didn't know that there was like when you got the part, you didn't know right away that there was a book about.
No, not at all. Not at all. I
That's
was
a
like,
nice
okay,
surprise
cool,
to
cool,
have.
cool.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
is a nice surprise. I was like, gee, yeah, fuck yeah, guys. I mean, I did think I did a good job with Kip, the audition, and I was like, damn, I really like that part. And I was like, it's okay. Something will come. And I guess it did come. Who knows? But like, truthfully, if we see any more of Kyle, I'm going to be thrilled because it's just like such a joy to be part of. But yeah, that's his trajectory as it exists in the books, as seen through Rachel. And like, I align with Rachel's vision. I like it. I like how she sees this Kyle. I'm like, okay. Because at the end of the day, he ends up not being like, he's gone to NYU, but he ends up like enjoying his time at the Kingfisher more. And he's like, I just like love hospitality and like curating a safe space for people to become themselves. And so I think there's something really beautiful about that as well, which would be cool to kind of explore.
Yeah, I really like that. And just in the 30 minutes that I've known you, I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, make you lead of the series. Like, give you your own season.
We want to see Common Hole a full season. I mean, Common Goal a full season.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm ready.
Fully, yeah. Filled and unfilled.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's beautiful.
What are some of your recent favorite shows or movies that you've watched, if there's anything?
Oh, okay. Well, this is probably like a left field. Recent favorite shows. Wait, queer focused or not? No. We just like the content.
Anything.
The next question was going to be queer if you want to talk about queer.
Yeah.
So
okay, well maybe we'll go. The gays have had their time. Let's be honest.
That's right.
No,
put it to bed.
I really have enjoyed I don't know how new it is, but do you know the Chair Company, Tim Robinson? That absurd comedy. Really loved it. Although I have to say, sorry if this is controversial, the ending left me wanting more. I felt like it wrapped up too soon and I wasn't ready for it to end, but really enjoyed that ride. And then like I'm a fan of British talk shows. So there's a show called Taskmasters, which I don't know if you know it, where it's just like they assemble 5 comedians and they kind of do these random tasks with no rhyme or reason. And there's something about it that maybe it just like calms my OCD brain and I can just like really focus on these, there's no wrong answer. But that's honestly what I watch a lot of in my spare time. There's a lot of Taskmasters. But like a queer focused, maybe recent. Okay, 2 things came to my brain.
Okay.
One was I saw the TV Glow. I really did like that. That's not necessarily a pick-me-up. Let's be clear.
Right. I actually, fun fact, when that came out, I interviewed the writer-director on the podcast.
Oh my God, no way. Okay. Yeah. Honored to share some channel space with them. That movie, I've watched it several times. I've also introduced some people to it if they're not familiar. I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe this would be a cool thing to watch. And like, I just end up bawling every time. And there's something really cool for me, at least, with it, where I'm like, you can find something new. It's like, you're always a different person when you watch it. And so, yeah, it's just a cool piece that I think, some people, it seems to be a polarizing piece. Some people love it, some people don't. And I'm like, okay, take from it what you will. But yeah, that's been really impactful. I think it's so cool. And then another one that came to my brain, but I don't know if it's necessarily like queer focused, but there's definitely queer undertones, is Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I didn't even think I would say, but like, yeah, that movie, I think just as like a piece of art is like,
it's beautiful.
I constantly go back to it. And especially when thinking about like auditioning for some pieces that have some interesting breakdowns, I always remind myself of like, yeah, how would Everything Everywhere All at Once have looked if I'd read that on a piece of paper? Would I have been like, what is this movie?
Yeah.
Nope, that's too weird for me. I'm not going to do that. Or would I have been like, okay, let's have at her.
Honestly, you could probably say the same thing about I Saw the TV Glow.
Yeah.
It's so true. So true. Like, what is this? It's like, also not queer, but The Substance, also another polarizing movie, but I love The Substance. And that is something that I think about with like, as an actor, with your body sort of being your vessel and how much are you willing to share? And, especially like Hudson and Connor, like they bared it all. And then like, I also think about Demi Moore and just being like, okay, you know what? There's like, I think there's a way to do it tastefully, and something like The Substance and Heated have done that. And like, there's a way to make it about more than just the flesh, and it can resonate strong. And so,
absolutely.
Yeah. The Carly, I'm going to say this, the woman who did The Substance, Carly Bargot, I think. something like that.
I wouldn't know to correct you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it.
I think she's French. I don't know if you're correct.
I do know she's French. She is. Yeah.
She did another movie before that called Revenge, which, to your point, it's like, not to be whatever, but a lot of times when a straight guy does any kind of rape or sexual assault, it's like exploitative, feels awful. I don't like, and not that it's like fun to watch, but it was like clearly done by a woman where it was able to be like, convey what's going on, convey this is awful without feeling super exploitative, which I thought was kind of impressive. I watched that just like over the summer, so I haven't seen,
Oh my
I didn't see it when it came
put that
out.
on my list. Revenge is what it's called.
Yeah, and it's just like, it really is like very straightforward, like, she is raped by this awful man and she gets like really good revenge.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Okay, I love it.
That's the movie. And it's, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Because there is a difference with like nudity when it feels like, I think the substance, if it were done by a man, would have been like really, I don't know, right? Like,
I think the substance needed a woman's point of view. The whole thing is about how media portrays women and their value in media to, I know you said it isn't queer coded, but I think that is pretty queer coded. I think anytime there's like a strong woman and a badass woman and like anything kind of horror and psychological, gays eat it up. I'll talk about myself. I'll eat it up. I love that shit. I love like seeing a hot, cool, sexy woman just be a badass, get into like crazy situations and like really make a point on the way that they're treated, especially in like Hollywood. Like Demi Moore,
1,000%.
Demi Moore's characters, she's aging out of relevancy, as according to Hollywood. So it's really an important message, and it says a lot, and it's probably something that actors all felt really strongly about. Like, I can imagine.
Yes. Oh my God, yeah. It's insane. And I mean, like in the queer world too, like twink death is a term we all know. We say when you're 30, you're dead. Like it's like these stigmas are built into us. It's kind of crazy. It's
really sick actually. And I something happened recently with, I don't know, you can cut this if it gets too long, but I saw recently like on TikTok, there was a plastic surgeon who pulled up like a video of Troye Sivan doing an interview and be like, he has twink death and this is what he should do to avoid it. Or like, and it was Troy released like a whole Substack article talking about like how hurtful and harmful that is. And like, yes, we're all aging and growing. And I do think in the queer community, that is an issue that we have, is like really belittling people who are just aging, and it's just natural. Like you're no longer valuable because you no longer look a certain way or are a certain age, and it's an issue in our society. Really, it is, and it feels like it's getting worse.
I think it is, and like, not to make it full circle, but if there was a way, like, it is kind of beautiful to get to explore these like male on male romances through something like Heated Rivalry, because like, I think part of the reason why it resonates with us so strongly is like, we forget that, and it is changing now. Like, we're seeing things like Heartstopper and these younger queer stories that we're able to sort of like embrace ourselves earlier in a safe space to explore what a healthy romance is actually like. But a lot of times the gay relationship doesn't get to fully blossom until much later in life. Yeah. We have a lot of these adolescent type milestones that don't happen until your later 20s and 30s that other hetero couples have gone through in like high school and like early college dating, these hiccups that they get over. And so it's I was gonna make such a great point, you guys. I was gonna sound so smart.
I think that is a great point already, because as queer men, a lot of the times we don't blossom until we're older because we didn't get the opportunity when we were younger, and I think that's probably
that's what I was going to say. Yes, and so we have this like need to hang on to our younger self. This like, we want to look young and youthful. I think because we think that that's tied to being like desirable, or there's a part of our brain that's like, I never got to experience that high school boyfriend, so we perpetually try to relive it over and over again by like staying in that youthful kind of like childish behavior. Sometimes even like party culture can be wrapped up in that. But I really do believe as a Canadian citizen, I really think that if we have more content that sort of like lets us see ourselves more regularly, then we will accept that people grow old. You don't die in the gay community when you turn 30, 40, 50. There's just like new phases to love and to life. And like, chosen family is just as important. And that's something what like I saw the TV Glow really emphasizes is like, yeah, you get to like you could turn a flaw into a feature and you get to define yourself. And by doing that, you get to define what your family is and your community. And that's actually more powerful than being forced into something that you never felt you belonged in anyway, by like really choosing it. And so did any of that make sense, you guys?
Yes,
Now I'm
absolutely.
like totally being like, what
No,
did
I
I
thought that
just
was
say?
great conversation.
No, that
I
was
love
great.
that.
Ashley, you're gonna have to cut.
No.
No, real quick, are you a Buffy girl?
A little bit. I'm not. I need to get into it more, but I do love Buffy.
I am. My friend painted this for me for my 19th birthday. But I am always curious because I'm always impressed by people who like don't know Buffy because that movie is clearly influent. You know what I mean? Like that's the show basically.
Okay.
And when I saw it with a straight friend who had never seen Buffy, and he was like, "Oh, so like that was like a parallel for Buffy, right?" And I was like, yeah. And he was like, "I wonder if like you don't know what that is, if you could still enjoy the movie." So I'm always just curious if like,
yeah, you know what? I didn't put so the pink opaque is like the Buffy comparison. Okay, I didn't quite make that until you just said that right now.
She uses
and it still resonated with me many times.
They use the same like font as Buffy for the credits of the pink opaque. Yeah, it's like very clever. And one of the actors,
I'm gonna have to watch it again tonight. Yeah,
the actress who plays the mom that he goes to see of his friend, where he's like crying, she's from Buffy. And the Jane Schoenbrunn had Amber Benson specifically as her character dies on Buffy, so she wanted her there to be like a safety net for a kid, which I thought was, and I had them both on together to talk about the movie, which was like really nice. But yeah, I'm always curious how people interpret that movie because on paper, I really don't think I would like that movie. Like if you showed me a book and I read a synopsis, I don't know that I would have been like, yeah, that sounds like something I'll love.
True. And I think I went into it thinking, I saw it in theaters and I went in, it was sort of advertised as like this horror film.
Yeah.
And I remember being like halfway through being like, okay, I think this is maybe somebody's idea of horror. It's definitely not mine. And like, yeah, just being deeply moved. And now even what you're saying, I'm like, okay, I think I can appreciate this on a whole other level too. It's just like visually stunning. The story is beautiful. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. But to your point of youth in the queer community, so like I recently turned 43 and like I think of a lot of that, honestly. Like I think about that a lot where it's like, especially when you're like, sometimes people try to say, and I'm like, oh, do I fucking do that? Maybe I do. But like it is hard. And people, the one compliment I get is like, oh, you don't look your age. And I'm like, when I stop getting that compliment is when I will know that I look older. And like, then what will I do? So I do think about that a lot. And it is unfortunately like people do. There's, the youth. There's what is that weird guy that like injects himself with his son's blood.
Oh yeah, the billionaire.
Yeah, that like shit like that is so weird, but I do think our culture kind of creates that weirdness.
It does.
I mean, if it's in the pursuit of longevity and to be healthy, that's awesome.
Right.
If it's in the name of vanity, then I think, Narcissus, is that the name of that, like, the story?
Narcissus.
Like, we've all seen it, we know that's like Icarus flying too close to the sun. Like, we've heard it 1,000 times. Even like, some people on TikTok go to extremes and change their faces to be beautiful. And then you're like, you were prettier as you were. I don't know if we'll ever fix it, but like, I do think if we keep showing true queer stories, then maybe we'll grow to just be like, oh, I'm at that phase of my journey. This is really cool. And, like, we are missing a generation of gay men because of like the AIDS epidemic. So we don't really have a lot of these older role models, and those we have are incredible, but like there's a stigma still tied to that. And I think, we have our Billy Porters and our RuPauls are like great, but that's not the story and the narrative for everybody. So maybe we can bear that torch and show people that as you can age gracefully, into that gay
when we
sunset.
When we have our movie where each of us play a different gay character, I can be the older one, showing a positive example.
Yes, in this podcast you are, and that's beautiful. Thank you, Ian. Thank you for representing that for us.
Fuck off. Circling back to Stonewall, actually, one of the bartenders who is this older gentleman named Tree, who is fantastic. He was there for the riots. He like has been around that
No
long.
way.
And I remember after the 2016 election, I went in there, I was meeting a friend, and he was bartending, and he was like, "How are you doing?" And I was like, "Well, shitty. The election just happened, like blah, blah, blah."
Ugh.
And I remember him giving me a shot, and we did a shot together, and he was like, "It's gonna be bad, but we will survive." He was like, we like have conformed to many different evil people in charge. He was like, "I have no doubt that it will be rough, but we will make it." He was like, "Take it from someone who was here at the Stonewall riots." And I was like, that does make me feel like slightly better. And we like did a shot, and it felt nice having like a queer elder be like, "Yeah, it's not pretend it'll be fine, but be like, we will weather this shittiness."
Yeah. Yeah. It always gets worse before it gets better, or
Yeah.
it appears that way. And I mean, there is a silver lining if you think about it. The underlying reason of why we're talking today is because there's this massive homosexual, horny, super hot, sexy show
Yes.
that the world is obsessed with. And
Yes.
so that's kind of cool, you know?
I mean, at the end of my class, when those students recognized it, one of them, she was like, a queer teen, she was like, "Our whole softball team's obsessed with it." She was like, "It's a bunch of lesbians and we all text about the show all the time." And I was like, I love that.
Yes. I love that. To some people, I'm like, what does the show do for you? But I think it does a couple of things for a couple different fan bases. And so,
Right,
yeah,
because like
it's that
clearly
trifecta.
lesbians can appreciate people that are hot, but it's like
Yes.
clearly they're not watching it because like, ooh, like I just feel like all of the like weird things that people are like, well, they only watch it because the guys, it's like, well, no, like
No.
clearly that
Yeah,
group isn't
it's
watching
true.
it just because they're hot.
No, I mean, I
Exactly.
think this show has reached such a wide audience. Like, I think at first, when I first started watching it, like when it premiered, I think it was mostly queer people that I was talking about it with. But then as the weeks went on,
Yeah.
it was like my random straight 60-year-old coworker. I hear them talking about it with, the 24-year-old girl they sit next to. Like, I'm like, what's going
I
on?
know.
Like, you guys talk about Heated Rivalry, and like, it's amazing how it has reached over the aisle, and it brought us all together. And because it is more than just sex, it is
Right.
more than just hot guys hooking up. It's deeply emotional show. It is beautifully shot. The acting is incredible. The cinematography is incredible. The lighting is incredible. The music is incredible. It's a beautiful piece of art. And sex may have drawn people into it initially, but they stayed for the deep emotional connection that these two characters had. And all the supporting roles are incredible. Like, we talked about how dynamic a lot of these characters are. You don't even have them on screen for very long, but like Svetlana is incredible. Like Rose is incredible. And like, you barely see them, but they feel like well-rounded. They feel dynamic. They feel incredible. And this show has really done something that big shows with big budgets made with huge stars have been unable to do. And that's like really explode on the scene and get people talking.
It's so true. I credit a lot of that to Jacob Tierney, the creator of the show. He has such a heart. The whole team is incredible, but there is something about the man at the helm, the writer, director. He just knows how to bring that out of people, which is really cool. What you're talking about, how to give these characters a universe to themselves so that when they make an appearance on screen, you feel that. And there's no it's also, he's a gay man. It's making a gay show. It's so cool. So it's not trivial to him. And he sort of, sees it from a real POV that I think on many levels, that's why it's resonating with people, that it is just so genuine. And to all the points you just said, I just would give so much credit to Jacob. He's just done like incredible. It's so cool. I'm like, what's he going to do next? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Whatever he does next, I want to watch.
Yeah, I hope
Seriously.
he gets more.
Truly.
Like, let him do more queer things because
Yes.
Yeah.
And let him continue to have creative control, because I think that's the most important thing, because a lot of these bigger studios, they're taking all the control because they want to make as much money as possible, that's probably going to strip away a lot of that beauty.
Yeah.
And
I will
Peter
say
Alfred
this
captures.
is a big kudos to Crave or Bell Media here in Canada, because they made this show without having HBO attached. That's the really cool thing. This show was made, and then HBO bought it for distribution through the other countries. So it really was a big swing and a risk to create this show without a partnership for like distribution. And then I think like literally best case scenario, HBO is interested, and it's like, wow, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I gotta say, that's like, I keep comparing it to like late 90s, early 2000s like indie gay movies. It has the feel of that, and I mean that in the most complimentary way. Like those movies that I would sneak watch when I was like a teen to be like, ooh, like the guys are hot, and then it'd be like I would love the story, and like people would put their heart into it. And every interview with Jacob, I'm like, holy shit! It's like he talks about something new that was intentional that I fully missed, and then now I'm like, oh right, now I see it when I rewatch, and I think that's like you said, sometimes studios give a little bit too much critiques and edits. And I never, the one thing I always am like, yeah, but I don't fault that person is like a Marvel movie. And I'm a comic book fan, but I'm never mad at the director because I'm like, yeah, but they had Disney being like, no, you have to do XYZ, you have to do this. Like, they basically were there to do the work that they were telling them to do, not to do anything creative. And this shows like when it is creator controlled and like something you're passionate about, it can be, like you said, HBO bought it. It wasn't even made with HBO in mind. And I just think stuff like that's so impressive and you know, we're all creatives. It's as a creative, that's so nice to hear too.
I know. It
feels like that doesn't
the
happen
exception,
anymore.
not the rule. I know. I know. It's wild. Because even when we were making it, it was like, so where's it going? What is this for? And it was like, okay, is anybody going to see it? I have no idea. And so from that one extreme to the other, really, like, it's just, mind boggling.
And I have to ask you, because Heated Rivalry is a big gay show. You mentioned the horror movie you were in. You were also in a very popular, not actually gay, but gay lore horror movie, Orphan First Kill. Like, I feel like those movies.
Wait, what's the gay lore? What's the gay lore?
I just feel like it's part of. I feel like gay horror movie fans. That is a movie they will love. Yes. Like, I just feel like
it does sort of go into a soap operatic ending. Like, it gets a little crazy. Yes. Okay. I love it.
I just wanted to ask you about that because those movies are ridiculous and I love them.
Yes. I know, it's insane, and they've just made a third movie in the installment. Can't wait to hear that. I remember chatting with Brent, the director, about being like, so would you ever continue? And he was like, yeah, we have some ideas. And we chatted back then. I was like, I don't know anything about what they've shot story-wise. So I'm very, very, very curious to see what the continuation is. But if it's anything we discussed, holy frig, is a good twist or two in stores. There always is with Esther.
This one I loved the twist of, I know, I don't care, we're gonna work like we're both bad. I loved the Julia Stiles twist in this.
Insane. So freaking crazy. That was nuts because I remember booking that role, and like, it wasn't until I was chatting with the stylist, I think, or the wardrobe, where she was like, and so Julia's playing your mom, and we're going to have Isabel for Esther. And I was like, wait, slow back. Who are these people? And she's like, Julia Stiles. And I was like, wait a minute, not like Save the Last Dance, Julia. And she was like, yeah. And I was like, like freaking out on the phone. And then I was like, and you said Isabel. Do you mean like Furman? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, like, I was finding out fast. I was like gagged because I remember being in theaters, I think it was 2009, watching the very first one and just being like, walking out being like, I was with my best friend Maggie, and we both were like, that movie was crazy. Like what the F?
So unhinged in the best way.
So unhinged. And and when I got the audition for that, it was like a code name, and it was like Project. I think it was Project Esther is what it was called. So right away I was tipped off. I was like, you can't really use that name without people thinking about orphan.
Yeah.
And then the storyline was like Estonian child, and I was like, okay, this is sounding really familiar. That if it's not the orphan, it's like a knockoff. And so I was pretty confident tonally what they wanted for the audition, and then it just was so fun. The other crazy thing about that project was because we were doing so many practical ways of shooting it to make Isabel look like she was still 8 years old. They put us in these like 10-inch high platform boots. So anytime that you see us on camera with Isabel, we are all as a family in these massive like moon boots. And that includes like all of the fight sequences. So there are times when I'm like running down the hallway and the stairs, and if we're ever in the same shot, you just know that I have these like huge clonkers on my feet, which are just insane. It made Rossif so tall.
I love that. I think a lot about the scene of her smoking the cigarette while the radio's playing, driving away in the sunglasses. Like,
yes,
I feel like I use that image for a lot of things. Also, it's cool.
That was
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I quit smoking back then, like, but that was that I see that, and even that makes me want to have a little dart, you know.
It's also cool that you've been able to, I don't know, I love horror, so it's cool that you've been
Yeah.
able to die in 2 different horror movies. Like, that's fun.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Oh, I die in so many things. It's like, no spoiler alert, but I was counting the other day. It's like, yeah, I've been shot in the chest like 3 times in different things. Like I said earlier, axe to the head. And what's the other? Oh, and orphan crossbow to the chest. That was really crazy too. I remember when we were shooting that, I was like, ooh, we did it with the first take, and they're like, how was that? I was like, I think we need blood in my mouth. If we're gonna do that, like, I think I should be gargling out blood. And they were like, you want to do it? Let's go for it. And then they added it, and they were like, yeah, that made it so much better.
Okay, wait, I was gonna wait till after, but I'm gonna tell you this on recording. I was in this like very indie horror movie last year, done by a guy who is in the Chair Company. So weird that
No
you
way.
brought that up. And I basically, they just asked me if I wanted to die because he liked my podcast, and I was like, absolutely. And the fake blood, I choked on it. And after we shot, he was like, you did a really good job, like fake choking. I was like, oh no, I swallowed it. So I was actually choking when I fell over, but I just kept going because whatever. But that was fucking fun to do.
Good for the shot. Oh my God, I got to see this. Where can I find it?
It's not out yet. They've been like crowdfunding the end of it, but it was, I thought that was so much fun to do. Just like run, and I'm in my underwear, I run and I die.
Oh, that's the best. You want a great death is like, I honestly, I was just shooting a death earlier this week, which is like kind of crazy that we're even talking about it. But there are good ways to die and there are bad ways to die. A bad death obviously is off screen when it's like, oh no, like a good death is like, you see it, you get the prosthetic, they're coming in close, they're getting the coverage. My question is, what was the flavor of blood that they gave you? Was it mint?
Yes.
Okay.
Mint.
That's typical. That tends to be it. They have some chocolate ones that are a little interesting. And then I've had some that taste, because we're here in Canada, that tastes like maple syrup. That's like, I will say my favorite is the mint though. It's good.
I don't like mint. So like having that much in my mouth and swallowing a little bit, I was like,
well, it sounds like you were choking on it. I don't know if you were enjoying it the way it was intended.
Also, I feel like the texture just is kind of gross because it's like that weird.
Yeah.
And I feel like
it's like a little thicker than you want it to be. It's like runny toothpaste almost, kind of.
Yeah. I like love doing the like falling. I was like, can I do that again? And they were like, it's fine. And I was like, I want to do it again though. So we did it like a few times, me like falling over.
You gotta be careful though. Sometimes those fall, you don't feel it in the moment, and then it's like the next morning you wake up and you're like, oh, okay, I guess adrenaline was doing something there.
So because we normally had covered Buffy, I had Buffy's stunt double on once. She broke both her ankles doing like a jump and didn't realize till she got in her car when she like couldn't press the pedal. She was like, wait, what's wrong with my feet? And she realized she broke both of her ankles, which is insane.
That's horrific.
Ow. I was just like walking on them for the did they do this stunt multiple times, or did they get it in one and then they broke, or they kept doing it on broken ankles?
They got it in one, but then she kept working and she just kept thinking, oh, my ankles kind of hurt. And she said it was because of the adrenaline. She just didn't realize how badly they hurt. And then she got in her car and like couldn't move them, which is
that's horrific.
God. Didn't they just make in the last couple of years, they added an Academy Award for Best Stunt?
I think so. Yeah.
Which makes sense. Soon enough. It makes sense. Stunts are unsung heroes of any project. It's insane. They come in with their own protective gear. They like normally get themselves to set. They make sure that you, the actor, are like feeling comfortable with everything. And you're like, it's okay what I do. How are you? Like, you're about to fall 5 feet. Like, what the fuck? Like, no. Any stunt person I've ever had the pleasure of working with has been incredible. So I can only imagine Buffy's stunt double must have been like impeccable. And my God, the things they go through. Like,
and she was the Pink Ranger too. Like, that's a lot of stunts.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Wow. Icon, gay icon right there.
Literally gay icon.
Yes.
It's very cute. Her and her husband own a cafe, and I was like, you do know that you have a lot of gay fans? She was like, yeah, we get a lot of gay people that come into our cafe and know who I am. And I was like, that makes sense. I was going to ask you, but we already kind of talked about it, like what you'd like to see from your character, but I feel like you've already talked about that. But if there's anything else you'd like to see Kyle do.
like, well, you know what? To put it bluntly, I would like to see more of my character. Period.
Fair.
Let's say that. Would love to come back. Love to be at the Kingfisher. But if I think about, if let's say in a perfect world we do get to see the Kyle and Eric love story, they get to go to Greece in their narrative.
Okay.
And if we got to shoot in Greece, that would be really cool. Will we? No, we'll probably make someplace in Ontario look like Greece. Who knows? They made Hamilton look like Russia, so they could do it. But no, that would be really cool to travel to, I don't know, Mykonos or somewhere and be like, just on a nice.
Only recent thing I can think of where I was like, that is clearly not where they're supposed to be. And I love Scream 6. It was like, there are too many trees on the street for this to be New York City. Like, that is not. That's the only time recently I can think where it took me
New city,
out.
new rules. What rules are these?
Yeah.
Oh God.
When like he jumps out of a
where did they
bush.
film Scream 6? Was that Montreal? No,
I think so. I don't know. Somewhere in Canada. I know that.
Definitely Canadian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
you should get yourself.
Are you excited for the new one?
I am.
But all the spoilers got leaked, right?
I've avoided them. I've seen only a few, and I've had friends be like, "Do you want me to tell you?" And I'm like, "No, don't tell me. I don't want to know."
Every kill got revealed, so it's like you gotta avoid that stuff.
Damn, that's awful.
I know. Isn't it weird they've done so little promo for it?
Oh wait, so do you think the leakage was intentional?
I don't know, but I it's weird that I feel like normally when there's a Scream, it's like we see Ghostface every fucking place, and now I feel like I keep forgetting it's coming out this month.
It comes out this month. I haven't even heard about it, honestly.
Wow. Okay, maybe they need to put a gay hockey player in it, and then everyone will be talking about it.
Yeah,
that's what
probably.
it is. Make it a goalie mask, and then it'll be all the rage.
They need to have you in it, is what they need to do. Clearly.
Yes.
Fair. Yes. Thank you. Let's start the campaign. Yeah.
Shoot it.
One last question. A lot of y'all that have these smaller roles but are so standout. How does that, like, you and we had Bianca Nugara on, who's Maria.
Love Maria.
She's so sweet.
So sweet. And like both of y'all, when I have posted about recording with you guys, the responses have been pretty wild of people like, "Oh my God, you got them. Oh my God, that's so exciting." How does that feel, like you being so like beloved and in a minor? I feel like that's like really cool, and I'm like happy for you guys.
Yeah, no, that feels incredible. I'm so humbled. That's actually so sweet. I approached Kyle the way I would approach any role, which is just basically like, screen time is irrelevant. It's kind of like, do you align with the project, the people? Yes, let's do it. And let's just bring our fullest self to set, and who knows what's to come of it. And like, yeah, it's just incredible to hear that response and that it resonates with people. It was really cool, I'll say, to get to play somebody that didn't feel like a character I was lacquering anything on. Like, I came unshaven, I had my own jewelry, got to really talk with Hannah in costume and wardrobe about like, how would I cinch certain waists, crop certain things, wear things. It was a really kind of like collaborative process there, which I think just enabled for all of these sort of like performances that resonate with the fans, which is so cool. And like, honestly, these performances would only stand out because there's an audience that's watching. And that's, I think, what I say. I'm like, I'm so humbled, and if there's more of Kyle to come, then I will just bring my fullest self to live up to all the expectations of the Swift storyline.
I look forward to there being more of Kyle. We're gonna manifest.
I'm seeing manifest. Blazing saddles. I'm seeing Kyle on top of the bar dancing his little heart out.
That's what I would love to do. That's not in the books, but I would love to do a little like bar top dance. There's like a Christmas dance thing that happens, but like, I
see it.
Yeah.
Let's sing it right now.
Anytime I've been to that bar,
part of the Kingfisher,
manifesting it.
I'm like, how don't they knock every drink off the bar when they're doing those dances?
They tend to they clear it pretty well. I feel like they've got it down to a science.
Yeah.
It's something to experience for sure.
It is, surely. Matthew, thank you for your time. Thank you for chatting with us. You are a delight.
Absolutely. Oh, likewise.
Let everyone know. Thank you. Let everyone know where they can find you online.
You can find me at Grindr or OnlyFans. No, you can find me on Instagram, just at Matthew Finlan. I'm also on TikTok, but I'm not as active there. But I do love to consume a lot of content on the scroll. But yeah, just Instagram, Matthew Finlan, and that's me. Follow or don't, give your love. But all the response to the show has been so appreciative, and thanks for having me on, guys. This is so cool.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for doing this. Sorry we ran a little late.
No worries. It's We're just talking about ourselves.
Yeah, just
Yes.
chatting.
Yeah.
Gossipy gals. Yes, thank you so much, and take care.